All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Tuesday, February 25th, 3:46 p.m. And boy, do we have a lot of news to cover. First of all, we've got a ton of earnings after the bell. We will have Cava, Intuit, Instacart, AMC, Lemonade, and a bunch of other earnings. So that'll probably take us until around 4:20, 4:30 to get through all of those earnings. We also have Workday, Enterprise Software, Axon, Lucid, First Solar, Zoom Info, and Coupang. So basically 10 companies that we're going to have to cover and see the implications of those companies as they report earnings. We do have NVIDIA tomorrow. We will be talking more about NVIDIA. That's going to be an important one as well. So we'll get into NVIDIA a little bit after we get through those earnings. On top of that, we got Technical Tuesday, a real Technical Tuesday. Last Tuesday was, I was sick, so I wasn't able to do the show. Jason was on Thursday. He wasn't able to stay too long. Today, we will have a typical, basically 3-hour Technical Tuesday where we literally try to get to every single ticker that is out there. And obviously, the tickers have changed given the tickers haven't changed, but the stock prices on the tickers have changed. The charts have changed. So we'll try to get Jason's opinion on what's going on with TA. And then outside of that, we've got one other big piece of news that hopefully happens by 4 p.m. I mean, the deadline is at 5:30, but we'll see what happens. SMCI. They've got to report the 10K like today. What's so funny, Chris just tweeted that SMCI is doing a webinar. They tweet out a couple of minutes ago that they're hosting a new an hour ago. Join our webinar with experts from Supermicro and AI pioneer Centrific to discover how AI-driven applications can be applied to SEOs to address common challenges. So if they're having a webinar to talk about AI in streamlining self-checkout systems, I would imagine the 10K is going to come out, right? Like, I hope so. So in the next probably 30 minutes, hopefully not more than an hour, we will see if SMCI comes out with the 10K. All right, before we get into all that, let's see what's going on in the equity markets. First of all, thank you everybody for being here. We're going to be around for the next few hours trying to figure out what is happening. Pretty much the same story that I left you guys with during the market open. Nothing too crazy. I did do some buying, so let me tell you guys the buying that I did. I finally bought Hoodie at $45.45. Look, down 31% from the highs. I would love to buy another 300-400 shares. I only bought 100 shares. The reason why is because of the same stuff I talked about in the morning, which is that Robinhood is very, very volatile when it comes to crypto and broader market volatility. If that goes down, trading volumes go down, that's bad for Robinhood's overall growth. Having said that, down 31% from the highs, I mean, like, I got to buy that dip, especially on a stock that is one of my top holdings. So I bought 100 shares of Hood. I bought 200 shares of Rocket Lab at I think $20.40, whereas Rocket Lab $20.44 right now. So bought 200 more shares of RKLB. I actually found out why RKLB is down 10%, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then I bought 100 shares of SOFI. So nothing really too crazy. 100 shares of Hood, 100 shares of SOFI, 200 shares of Rocket Lab. That was the extent of my buying today. It really was not that aggressive, but kind of just a nibble in terms of the dip that we're seeing today. I think we got a decent reversal. I mean, decent is subjective, but it is a reversal from the kind of 12 p.m. lows that we put in during the day. I think Hood bottomed at around 44, and now it's at 46. So that's nice to see, but overall, not every stock kind of reversed from that bottom. Most stocks actually took a little bit of beating. Also, I bought another 100 shares of Grab at 462. So I bought another 100 shares of Grab. So Grab, SoFi, Rocket Lab, and Hood. Not tons and tons of shares of each of those ones, but about 100 in each of them. Now, Tesla is the big story of the day that I think we got to talk about before we get into it. Tesla's at a $967 billion market cap. This stock went below 300. And one of the reasons I'm not aggressively buying the dip on Tesla yet, part of it is I want to talk to Jason on the technicals today and kind of get his perspective on where he thinks the stock is going. But number two, I don't know what's going on with Tesla, dude. Like, this thing is in a funky situation right here, down 9%. It hasn't really recovered like the rest of the market, and the rest of the market hasn't really recovered, but like Robinhood's not at 44 anymore, right? So like a lot of stocks kind of made a pseudo V-shape. Again, not a full V-shape recovery, but a small little V-shape from their absolute bottoms. Tesla hasn't. Tesla, it's not at the absolute bottom anymore, but it's still aggressively down 9% of the day, 301. Elon Musk will be in the cabinet meeting that Donald Trump is having today. I think this might be a reason that Tesla stock is down, not because it is horrible for him to be in the cabinet meeting, but rather the same implication of the people that have been annoyed at Elon for spending so much time in the government. they continue to have an excuse to be annoyed at Elon not spending time at Tesla, but rather working with the government. Obviously, the auto sales in Europe were down 45%, which was like not good. We talked about that headline in the morning, but Elon also will be doing more meetings with Trump, and as a result, spending a little bit less time with Tesla.
I was wondering if is Elon Musk going to attend the president's first cabinet meeting tomorrow?
He is, as a matter of fact. I spoke to the president about that before coming down here as well. And Elon, considering he is working alongside the president and our cabinet secretaries, this entire administration will be in attendance tomorrow just to talk about DOGE's efforts and how all of the cabinet secretaries are identifying waste, fraud, and abuse at their respective agencies. We look forward to the meeting tomorrow, and I think you'll be hearing from the president and his cabinet where they're on campus tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited.
So Elon continuing his effort to be a prominent force with Doge. Tesla not really loving that, but nonetheless, Elon's doing what he's doing. Look, if you've been a Tesla shareholder for a long time, which I can't say I have been, I've been following the company for a long time, but I've not been a active shareholder for a long time, then, I mean, this can't be that different to you. Like, you know that Elon gets distracted and does other things, and the stock reacts violently. And also, regardless of what Elon's doing right now, the stock is volatile. I mean, it is the definite. I mean, I would say, well, I don't know if I can say this. I was going to say it's more volatile than MicroStrategy, but MicroStrategy is down 12%. It is officially down 50% from the highs. At least Tesla's not down literally 50% from the highs at 487. MicroStrategy is officially down 50%. So MicroStrategy is probably still a bit more volatile than Tesla, but nonetheless, both are incredibly volatile assets. And if you've been in the story for a long time, you probably know how volatile it is. SMCI right here down 13%. The 10K still not out. Maybe it'll be out at 4 p.m. We will see what happens in about 7 minutes. Google down about 2%. Palantir down 4% of the day. Absolute bottom was 85.25. Let's see if it can close above this $87 level. MicroStrategy again down 12%. Their premium to NAV has reduced to 1.5. Eric Trump today said buy the dip. Michael Saylor said volatility is vitality with an orange heart emoji. Not really helping the stock, but nonetheless, he thinks that the dip is worth buying. Nvidia down 2.4%. What's green? Nubank, Crown Castle, Verizon, T-Mobile, AMAT, or AMT, American Tower Corporation, Carnival Cruise. Some of those names we were talking about in the morning with Chris that are a little bit more green, given they're not as volatile and not as dependent on the consumer. Now, the 10-year is also coming down, which is pretty damn incredible. And again, we talked about in the morning, it's not really bullish. It's not bearish. One of the reasons it's coming down is because people might be thinking there's something breaking in the economy, and that's why bondholders are locking in their yield. So that could be technically bearish, but one of the reasons it's bullish is because if you're a company with a ton of debt and you need to refinance your debt, the 10-year coming down is great. Also, the 10-year coming down is pretty good for mortgage rates coming down, and we have a housing crisis in the United States. We need those mortgage rates to come down. Right now, they're sitting at 6.93%, just a smidge below 7%. New housing starts are at the lowest level since 2021. So, yeah. I mean, like, this is not a bad thing, but if the economy's literally breaking and that's why the 10 years collapsing, that could be a bad thing. I don't think that's the case, but that might be the perception of what's happening right now. And that's why the 10-year is definitely falling down. Again, Scott Bessent in the morning also said that his number one concern is the 10-year. He's been saying that for the past couple of weeks right now. If that's the case, then I don't think they care that much about rates. They care, or interest rates. They care about the 10-year. Eventually, that'll have an impact on interest rates, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be it doesn't seem like anything else other than the 10-year is going to be the biggest concern. Now, another thing Bloomberg reported today, and again, this is not officially by the Trump administration. This is from Bloomberg sources, which you can believe it or not believe it. But they said sources inside of the Trump White House are telling them that if the S&P were to decline a full 10% down to that $5,700 range, that's when Trump would get really serious about calling on the Fed to do something. So these are sources that told Bloomberg, hey, if we do have a serious 10% problem in the United States, a 10% reduction in the stock market, that's when Trump will get serious about trying to inject fiscal policy and like actually take action via his powers. Now, granted, what powers does he have? Not that many when it comes to just getting the stock market to go up outside of his vocal powers of pressuring J-Powell. I don't think pressuring J-Powell to lower rates in that situation would necessarily make a difference. I think if we have a 10% correction, we have a 10% correction. But according to Bloomberg, that is the level that Trump is looking at in order for there to be a theoretical Trump put if the S&P were to get to 570 on the current index that we're seeing right now, 5,700. Here's BlackRock and their perspective on this. We are going to have earnings in about 4 minutes, and we'll see how some of these other companies do. But here's what Rick Reeder has to say about the current state of the markets.
What is the dynamic is pretty hard. No doubt, started retail sales, Walmart's projections, Some of the other numbers were a bit softer. So a little bit of growth. And then I would argue there's a little bit of momentum that's coming out. There's a little bit of leverage unwind that's coming out. It'd be interesting to hear what Tony says about positioning relative to that. I think there's a lot of degrossing that's taking place. That is, and the liquidity in the markets, given, I think risk premia has gone up because the uncertainty is so high. And so the depth of some of these markets, single name index, and by the way, cutting across also the rates market, it's just, people are very uncertain and you see jumpy markets.
It wasn't supposed to be this way. I mean, everything but the Dow is negative since the inauguration. I mean, and the
Dow's not doing that great either because UNH got hit with the DOJ lawsuit the other day.
Dow just barely positive since the inauguration. That wasn't the playbook.
No, it's been pretty. I mean, it's been quite a ride. I mean, like I say, a lot of this comes up because policy uncertainty is just out there. When are we going to get tariffs? What types of tariffs? What's the relationship U.S.-China? Putting all that together. Anybody who can tell you, gosh, I figured out my model on growth or inflation without a wide error band, I think is lying. You just can't. You can't do it. And that's why you get these jittery markets and why risk premia has gone up.
It sounds like you are talking about a lot of the same things that, let's say, Ken Griffin of Citadel has talked about in the last few weeks. A lot of uncertainty around tariff policy, a lot of uncertainty around what have been our alliances for decades, seemingly being unraveled. Is that going to be a constant overhang on this market?
So I think it's why risk premium is higher. I think it's why the liquidity in the markets is going to be higher. Listen, at the end, I'm doing a presentation Wednesday, Thursday on zooming out. And so actually the title of it's going to be, you can see better sometimes when you take off your reading glasses. And so the reason why I describe it as such is
that's kind of hilarious, right? Even some of the most professional money managers on Wall Street, their advice to their clients, because I would imagine their clients are emailing them, texting them like crazy about how bad the markets are. Their advice, their best advice is zoom out. Like, it just goes to show you everyone kind of just needs to chill and relax and kind of look at the markets in their entirety, because no one can make sense of what's happening in the short term.
Focus on every single headline. You can really get distracted versus what's the big picture. I still think you talk about pressure on some of these tech stocks. Tech is still going to take us to the next level in terms of growth. The spend on AI, it was interesting watching the Microsoft back and forth. That's still fundamentally going to work. Do we have to pause a bit? And by the way, the notional sizes that people have of some of these equities has gotten pretty large. To manage your risk going into earnings, like a big one tomorrow, and when the notional size becomes so significant, is tricky in a market that's filled with uncertainty and illiquidity.
And no one is perfect at managing that risk, right? I mean, the hedge funds try to do their best, but everything really rests on NVIDIA tomorrow, and no one is, I think, in my opinion, officially ready to deal with it going 10% up or 10% down or having a bad guide for 2025. We got about 30 seconds until the market closes. We have Instacart, Axon, Workday, Lunar, Cava, AMC, Lemonade, Lucid, and First Solar. These are all going to be having earnings today, so we're going to take a look at them. Let me know in the chat if anyone owns any of these names. I think the biggest one will also add SMCI, even though they don't report, because hopefully we'll get this 10K. And then in about 20 minutes, we will have Technical Tuesday and see how this all plays out. All right, here we go. Tuesday, February 25th, 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed. All right, another day is done on one of the toughest sell-offs so far of 2025. Before we get into earnings, let's just take a look at all these companies and how they perform to end out the day. Apple ends flat. Microsoft ends down 1.4%. Meta, another 1.5%. Google, 2%. Amazon somehow goes green. Went to 204, made its way back to 212. So market stepped in and bought that Amazon dip. NVIDIA down about 2.7%. It was at 124, now at 126.75. Tesla ends the day above 300, but not really showing that much strength. At one point, it was at 297, now at 302. Tesla has erased $600 billion of market cap over the past 65 days. So it's not been the best for Tesla. The semis, Dell was down 3%. Micron was down 3%. ARM was down 3%. Marvell was down 5%. TSM was down 2%. Qualcomm was flat. Broadcom was down 3%. ASML was down 1%. Intel was down 5%. I didn't even see Intel today. SMCI is down 11, AMD is down 4, and then again, NVIDIA was down 2.8% on the day. All right, let's get into earnings. Let's see what we got real quick. Palantir, where do we close on Palantir? Palantir, 87.84, and then Hoodie closed at 45.92. Let's get into earnings. We have... Do we have some movers? We have, where's Cava? Did I not? Cava is flat. Nothing on Cava yet. Workday is up. All right. We got a little bit of move on Workday. It was up 5%. There it is, 4.45%. Axon up 7%. I know a lot of you guys like that one. That is a body camera company, if I'm not wrong. $37 billion market cap. That's up 6.7%. Lemonade is up 2%, kind of flat, giving it back, up basically flat on the day. The rest of these are not fully up, not fully down, but Workday, that one is up 7.4% currently right now. Intuit, do I not have Intuit on this? I did not add Intuit. Hold on, let me add Intuit. Intuit is up 1.15%. I don't think we have numbers yet, but Intuit's basically flat. The one that's actually moving is Workday. Now it's up 6%. It was up 7.4%. And then Lemonade's moving a little bit. The rest of them, I still think we're waiting for numbers that we should be getting pretty soon to get these ones. Zoom Info. You guys own Zoom Info? I actually used Zoom Info a while ago. It was like 5 years ago. I used to use their stuff. These guys are flat after hours. No results yet for Zoom Info. AMC is also flat. Cava is up 0.63%. Cava's had a nasty year, if I'm not wrong. They had a good 2024. Year to date, they are down 13%. Over the past year, they're still up 100%. At one point, they were $150, which would be valuing each Cava location at $53 million a pop, which is probably a little aggressive. But since then, it has chilled out just a little bit. Workday right here up 7%. Let's see if we can get their numbers, since those are the ones that are moving the most after hours. Instacart's down. Instacart's down. Yep. All right, Instacart. So the implication on some of these companies are important. Instacart's a consumer play. I am curious about them. Cava's a consumer play. I'm curious about them, right? If people don't have enough money to pay for their groceries being delivered or pay to go out to get food, it's at least somewhat of a signal in regards to what Walmart was telling us. Not the best signal, because Instacart's not, the entire economy. But still important to at least know what's going on there. Workday's up 7%. Axon's up 3%. First Solar's flat. Supermicro is up 1.2%. Getting a little bit of green on Supermicro. Maybe that 10K is coming out. I'll let you guys know as soon as I get the details on that. But we are seeing some of that momentum. Lucid as well. Do I have that on the list? Lucid is up 0.57%, and then First Solar is up 0.47%. All right, let me see if I can get some of these numbers here. We have Intuit. Intuit has a beat on the top and the bottom, 332 versus 258 on EPS. That's a great beat for Intuit. That's up 2% right here. Revenue 3.96 versus 3.83. That is a beat on revenue. A beat on the top and the bottom. Workday 192 versus 178. That is a beat on EPS by about 20 cents. That is not bad. Good for enterprise software. And revenue 2.2 billion versus 2.18 billion. That is also a beat on revenue. Another company that has a double beat, which most of the companies have had double beats, which is not too bad. SMCI, we are up 1.2%. I don't see the 10K is out yet. Let me confirm. If it would be out, it would be out soon. By the way, we are officially in extreme fear. We are at like 27 now on extreme fear. So that has officially been updated to be below fear and into extreme fear right now as well. No 10K yet. No 10K yet. Sezzle, you guys are saying, is also having earnings. Let me put up their ticker. Sezzle, wow, that's up 15%. This is a small cap, $1.6 billion company. I forgot what these guys do. They're like I feel like they're a fintech, but I'm probably wrong. Sezzle, I've heard of this ticker, but I completely forgot what these guys do. Someone let me know in the chat. I feel like it's fintech. Workday is up 8% right here. Cava's up 1.3%. AMC up 0.6%. Lucid up 0.77%. Lemonade up 1.28%. Let's see if we can get some coverage on these. Intuit. All right, let's see what we got on Intuit, and then we will keep going from there. They do not tickle, dude. Goodness. Jason's going to be on in about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, and then we'll get into Technical Tuesday.
In Q2 fiscal 2025, results that beat on the top and bottom lines. The company also raising the quarterly dividend 16% to $1.04 a share. Intuit revenue coming in at $3.96 billion, above the 3.83 consensus. Non-GAAP EPS at $3.32, above the $2.57 expected. On the guide, Intuit guiding to TurboTax, that's tax season Q3 revenue. So this is Q3 revenue, not just for TurboTax, but it's a big TurboTax season. Q3 revenue of $7.575 billion at the midpoint of a range of $7.55 billion to $7.6 billion. That's well above consensus at $7.52 billion. The EPS guide is a bit below the street at $10.92 at the midpoint versus $11.51 expected. But there's an explanation for that you're going to hear from Intuit's CEO, Sasan Goodarzi.
All right, so Intuit crushes it. Way better quarter than they had last quarter. Last quarter, they missed expectations on guidance, so this quarter was a lot better. Not too bad. That's why their stock's up 3%. This is the website for SMCI. I put it right there in the chat, so if anyone is looking for it, you can refresh and try to see if it uploads or not. But so far, all we have is the 8K. We do not have the 10K yet. We do not have the 10K yet. So either they're going to call for an extension or they are, going to not put it out, or they're going to put it out. It's going to be one of the three, and we'll find out what happens. SMCI right here up 0.15%. We do have Lucid that is up 12%. So Lucid up 11.8% right now, $7.8 billion market cap. Looks like their numbers are not horrible. Let me see if I can get those in a second. But we covered Workday and Intuit. Lucid is a double beat. So instead of losing 29 cents, they lost 22 cents. Revenue 234 versus 211. Revenue is 234 versus 211. I don't know how many people are still into the Lucid story. Again, I think the only thing that's keeping them afloat is the Saudis that just keep pumping more money into them. But if you were playing it for a trade or something, they have a double beat. So that's why the stock's up 13% right here. Long term, it's just a competitive market with Rivian, Tesla, Polestar, all those guys. 13.4% right now in Lucid. It was down 6% on the day. Volume, 104 million shares. So you do have a lot of people that still are trading this stock. AMC, no answers for them. Intuit's up 3%. Zoom Info's up 10%. Zoom Info has a beat on the top and the bottom. 26 versus 23 cents EPS. 309 versus 297. That's a $12 million beat on revenue. Zoom Info beats on the top and the bottom. We also have First Solar, which misses on EPS kind of badly. First Solar down 3% right here. 365 versus 473 on EPS. 1.5 versus 1.48 on revenue. So beat on the revenue slightly, missed on the EPS badly. That stock right here is currently down 3%. SMCI now goes red after hours, down 0.02%. I don't see the 10K out on my side. If anyone ever sees it out, then let me know in the chat. Again, they have till 5:30, so technically they have an hour and a half to put it out. But if it doesn't come by 5:30, then that's not going to be the best thing for SMCI. Home Depot already had earnings today. I'll put their ticker up here, but they had earnings in the morning. They had a double beat. Home Depot, ironically, dude, Home Depot up 2.8%. If we look at the heat map right here for the S&P 500, it was a nasty day, but retailers were okay. And it's funny because it makes you think that the market's just getting out of tech and going into anything else. You would think that the consumer is struggling, right? So why is Home Depot, McDonald's, Starbucks, Lowe's, Costco, Walmart, why are they green? Given that, they heavily depend on the consumer. Well, maybe it's not that the consumer is that much in pain, even though the consumer confidence today was not that good in the morning. But maybe it's just the market is not happy with tech right now, which is understandable given that they're trying to rotate. That's why the S&P 500 was barely off of its all-time highs, even though something like Amazon or Tesla is down almost 45%. Amazon down 7% year to date, Tesla about 25%. But Walmart was up 5%, Costco was up 2%, Home Depot was up 3%. So all the typical retailers actually didn't have that bad of a day. Lucid Motors announces CEO Peter Rawlinson is stepping down. Oh, wow. So maybe that's why it's pumping. Maybe it's not really about the earnings. This guy's been there for a while though, right? This guy's been there since, 2019. I remember watching an interview of this guy back in 2021 when Lucid stock was really getting coverage. Lucid at one point was like $40. Now it's at about $2. Yeah, this guy's done. He's gone. All right, so I guess the street likes it. I guess the street likes that he is officially gone. Let's take a look at what's going on with Instacart earnings.
Either works, but the numbers are not working in favor of the Bulls right now. The stock is down more than 6.5%, been bouncing around, was down as much as 10%. It was the beat on EPS, 53 cents versus 38 cents that was expected. It was a revenue miss, though, $883 million versus $891 expected. Gross transaction value for the fourth quarter, that actually was in line. But guidance was light on Q1 adjusted EBITDA. It was a little better than expected on first quarter gross transaction volume, but it's this sentence here that likely investors are focusing on. The company says it expects average order value to continue to decline year over year, primarily driven by restaurant orders and our new $0 delivery fee on $10 minimum basket feature, resulting in orders growth outpacing GTV growth in Q1 of 25. And just in terms of those average order volume, it did decrease in the fourth quarter by 1.
Okay, so that's not good for Instacart. Let me know in the chat if anyone really uses Instacart heavily. I don't think Instacart is a real gauge on the consumer. It's a gauge on a certain type of consumer that doesn't want to do their own groceries, right, and wants to get it delivered. So it is something to pay attention to, even if it's not the best understanding of where the consumer is. Cava's getting destroyed right here, down 10%. Let me try to pull up Cava's numbers. Looks like they missed, or at least guidance was not the best. Yeah, they missed on EPS. It's a 2-cent miss. I don't know if the street should be that upset. 5 cents versus 7 cents. Revenue, 227 versus 223. Stock's market cap is 11 billion, down 8%. Where's Chipotle? Chipotle's market cap is 70 billion. All right, so Chipotle's a bit bigger. And then Texas Roadhouse, their market cap is, if I'm not wrong, 11 billion as well. Now, Texas Roadhouse's numbers, I think, are definitely better than Cava's. Cava's growing faster than them. But Cava right here is down about 8%. Axon's up 12%. That one is sort of a bit of an underrated gem that I know a lot of people love. Body cameras, that's up 10.99%. We'll try to get those numbers in a second. But Cava is down 8%. Lucid up 5%. Lemonade flat. SMCI flat. Intuit's up 4%. Sezzle up 11%. Home Depot is up 3% of the day. Flat after hours. AMC also flat, as we don't have those numbers yet. I still have never ate Cava, by the way. It's been a while, but like I've known about the company for so long, but I just haven't tried it yet. But Cava's numbers miss on the EPS, beat on the revenue. Lemonade's at 425. Okay, cool. So in about 15 minutes, we will get Lemonade and see what they will say. Yeah. So in terms of Rocket Lab, right? I forgot to mention the reason Rocket Lab was down 10% today, outside of the broader macro, is there was a short report that came out on Rocket Lab today, and that short report basically claimed that Neutron's not going to be launching until like end of 2026. That is why I think Rocket Lab took a bigger hit. Now, I guess we're going to find out what happens to Rocket Lab on earnings on Thursday. Bought 200 shares today, so we'll see what happens. I have some puts at 22, but if Neutron is delayed, yeah, maybe that's not going to be best for the stock in the short term, but that is what the short report was saying today.
1%.
HR software platform Workday was seeing a $1.92 adjusted on an earnings, which is a big beat. The street was looking for $1.78. Revenue at $2.2 billion, ahead of consensus, thanks to a nice 17% year-over-year jump in subscription revenue. Executives in the press release referencing the increased continued momentum for their full suite and financial products, growing demand for artificial intelligence stock keeping units, and strong execution, as they say, across multiple verticals. They're also hiring Garrett Kazmaier as president of product and technology. He comes from Google Cloud, where he focused on data analytics, and we are watching shares up nearly 7% in overtime, John.
All right, Seema, thanks. Caesars earnings are out. That stock's bumping around a lot here in overtime. Contessa Brewer has the numbers. Contessa.
John, Caesars Entertainment earnings beat with 5 cents a share, adjusted against the 13-cent loss that the street was expecting. Revenues came in roughly in line, consensus, at $2.8 billion, and adjusted EBITDA, the important earnings metric for casinos, came in just light with $882 million.
Okay, so that's nice to see. Caesars, a casino company, gets profitable when the street didn't expect they would get profitable. I didn't even know they had earnings today. And revenues came in line with expectations, so that's not horrible. Coupang, their earnings are out. They're up 1.93%. I'm going to try to get their numbers. I believe they have a double beat as well, but they are currently up 2%. And then we saw Instacart that took a little bit of a beating. That one is down. That one is down 7%. I don't have Axon's numbers yet. I'm imagining they're good. Don't have them yet. We should be getting them soon. But Street is reacting positively towards those. No update on SMCI yet. I still don't see the 10K. I'll put a poll in the chat of how many of you guys think the 10K will actually be filed today. Again, it has to be filed today, or there has to be a deadline extension asked for. So it's going to have to happen. We will find out pretty soon in terms of how this ends up playing out. SMCI still they have till 5:30 from my understanding. They have till 5:30, so they have about another hour. It's just weird, bro, because they're posting these links to like join their webinars online on their Twitter, and it's like, all right, well, you know, to do a webinar, you kind of need to be listed as a company, right? Like that would be nice. All right, here's Axon earnings. We have 575 million in revenue. 34% year-over-year growth. That's incredible. Net income of 135 million, 23.5% net income margin, adjusted EBITDA of 142 million, total company gross margin of 60.1%. That's down about 120 basis points year-over-year, driven by increased stock-based comp and amortization of acquired intangibles. CEO says, we see ourselves as a technology company committed to making the world a safer, less dangerous place. We're focused on providing tools that help prevent violence, hold people accountable, and address the complex challenges of modern society. Axon right here up about 11% on 34% revenue growth that they have right now. All right, cool. So, I mean, look, pretty much every company is beating. I mean, you got some companies that are missing very slightly on EPS or revenue, but every company that we've looked at so far has beat both on the top and the bottom, whether it's Zoom Info, which is a very niche data intelligence company, or whether it's Intuit, which is one of the biggest enterprise software companies in the world. They own things like TurboTax, QuickBooks, all that stuff. So we are seeing a diversity of beats across the board. Instacart didn't do the best. I'm going to try to get their exact numbers in a second. AMC's up 7%. I haven't been to the movies since Oppenheimer, and I almost fell asleep during those movies. So let's see. Okay, so EPS 16 cents versus 18 cents. That's a beat. Or sorry, that's a miss. They lost 18 cents versus losing 16 cents. Revenue 1.306 versus 1.30. So they beat revenue by 6 million, missed EPS by 2 cents. AMC is up 7%. There you go. Is anyone still in AMC? Does anyone still own this thing? I would imagine some people. I think is AMC still part of Robinhood's top 10 stocks? I know GameStop is up there. But for a while, AMC was like, for like 2 years, AMC was like one of the top 10 stocks that was owned on Robinhood. No, so it's not up there anymore. It's GameStop that's on the list. The others are Disney, Ford, Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Nvidia, Palantir, and Amazon. And then you got GameStop, but AMC used to be on that list for a long time. Dude, we knew it was a bubble when my mom made $1,000 on AMC. I remember it like it was yesterday, bro. 2021, I think she bought it at 12, sold it at 16. She made $1,000 or something, and I couldn't believe what was happening. That's how you know it was a bit of a bubble. Instacart right here down 9%. Axon still going up 14%. Coupang up 3%, and then Intuit up 4% here right now. Let's try to get some other earnings. Let's get the Lucid numbers. Lucid with their CEO stepping down. That stock up about 4%.
Lucid. Let's start first off with the results from the fourth quarter. Better than expected on both the top and bottom line. A smaller than expected loss of 22 cents a share on revenue coming in at $234 million, about $20 million better than the street was expecting. Again, both of those better than expected. Now for the CEO change. Peter Rawlinson is stepping down as CEO. He'll transition into a strategic advisor position, as well as ultimately chairman of the board for Lucid. Stepping into his role on an interim basis, COO Mark Winterhoff. And Lucid will, while that happens, Lucid will also begin the search for a permanent CEO. So again, Peter Rawlinson is stepping down as CEO of Lucid. COO Mark Winterhoff will take over on an interim basis. John, back to you.
Philip Bowe, thank you. Mike Santoli, your thoughts on the EV landscape?
Okay, SMCI, someone is saying, you guys are saying in the chat they filed. I don't see it yet. Let me check again. Is it out? Is this it? Is this the right one? I think they filed. Hold on. I think, is the stock reacting? SMCI? No, that's down 2%. Okay, so maybe it's filed and the market doesn't like that it's filed. No, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. I clicked on view latest 10K, but I don't think that's the 10K. Yeah, I think I would see it right here. I think they're showing me the previous 10K. Yeah, that's for 2023. Correct. That's for 2023. So whoever's saying it's filed, I don't see it. I mean, maybe you're seeing it somewhere else, but the latest I have is the 8K. This is on the NASDAQ website. Now it's getting hit after hours. SMCI down 2%. Okay, so down 2% is making me think that maybe there's a headline about a delay that's going around, because it was flat for the past 20 minutes until just now. I don't see any headline on the delay. 5:30 is officially the deadline. That I'm 100% positive on. 5:30 is the deadline. And they're cutting it kind of close. They filed the 2010 10K. Dude, this is why I sold out of it, bro. I sold out of it a little early. I could have timed it better. It could have made 7,000 instead of 3,000, but I like it. I've had jitters around this stock for so long, ever since they initially missed filing basic documents and since Ernst & Young stepped down. And so as a trade, I felt there was some value in it, because it did get kind of stupid when it got to $17 or $25. But as an investment, it's scary if you can't trust management. Like, you're investing in people at the end of the day. Like, it ends up getting scary. SMCI right here down 3% after hours. Some news headline is going around that's causing this thing to finally start dipping after hours. It was already down 11% on the day, so basically down 14.3% now, if you include after hours. And we are basically, I sold it at 42. It's at 44. So, I mean, it's kind of stepping into that range. Now, it would be funny if it does a reversal and it goes all the way up to 60 once the 10K comes out. But I don't know. Like, is it going to be that aggressive or not? Mick can now tell Chris, Steve, I told you so. Dude, it's not even about telling them I told you so anymore. Like, I made my money on it. I'm happy. I just don't want them to lose a lot of money. Now, the good thing is those guys are, they're big boys, and so they can afford to lose a bit of money in the markets. I don't think they put their life savings into this. The one thing I will say, though, is like when the thing went to 65 last week and Steve said he was up like 4x on his calls, that's when I was like, all right, you got the pump, right? Like you got the pump. You wanted a pump, you got the pump. It's just the pump is not going to last when they cut it this close to the 10K or to the filing deadline. And right now they're cutting it pretty damn close, which is the issue. As an accountant, I thought it was bad when I heard that from EY, but Jensen publicly threw them a nod last week, so I held. Yeah, and again, look, even though I don't own an SMCI, I own NVIDIA, and I just don't think it looks good for NVIDIA. One of their top suppliers is not filing their shit on time. Like that's just there's no excuse for that, bro. Like, now SMCI is down 4%. Okay, now it's tanking. Now it's really getting hit. Cava's down 6%, recovering a little bit. Workday's still up 7%. SMCI now down 4%. There's some headline here that's giving an issue. People are saying on X, SMCI is asking for an extension. Let me see if that's the case. I mean, they have till 5:30 to ask for the extension, I guess. 5:30 is definitely the deadline. There's no confirmation of them asking for an extension. See, here's the thing. Again, one of the reasons why Steve loved the trade so much is because his argument is fair value is closer to 75 if they get a clean bill of health, which I don't think he's wrong about at all. Just given their growth, like he's actually 1000% correct on the way he's thinking about the valuation. It just comes down to, can they get that clean bill of health as well? It's reducing a little bit, going back to normal. It was down 5%. Now it's down 1.8%. Incredibly volatile right here after hours. Not definitively going up or down here. First Solar, are we having results for First Solar? First Solar is flat. Let me see if I can get their numbers, but they are flat after hours. No, I don't have. No, we did. Well, we looked at First Solar. Yeah, they missed on EPS by about $1, and they beat on revenue by about 20 million. They have till 5:30. 5:30 for SMCI. Jason should be on in about 10 minutes. He'll be live, and then we'll do technical Tuesday. Even Jason, bro, when I went to see him in California, even he was just like, dude, like, I think it's cheap as hell, but I don't trust management. It was like, I really think it's cheap, and I want to play a trade on this, but I just can't trust these guys. And sometimes, sometimes that intuition ends up being right when they have a history of not putting out their stuff on time. Zoom Info up 12%. That one's doing well on earnings today. Instacart down 8%. Axon up 12%. Workday up 7.2%. And then Home Depot right here is flat. SMCI still down 2.28%. 5:30 EST. Yes, 5:30 EST. So basically in another hour. You guys saying call Steve? I don't think Steve's going to be able to pick up right now. Call Ken. Yo, I should call Ken. So Ken is okay. So for those that don't know, me, Steve, Matt, Chris are in a group chat with a guy named Ken. Ken is one of Steve's good friends. And Ken is one of the guys who's really been like advocating for SMCI. So him and Steve go back, way back in the day. So as a result, I think Steve trusts Ken. I trust Ken too. I just don't know Ken as well as Steve. Steve knows him a lot better. And so this Ken guy, who's a great guy, I mean, like he's an awesome dude, but like he's like SMCI, bro. They're gonna be good. And so maybe he has an update on what the hell's happening. But even today, this morning, he's just been like, dude, I'm bullish, but they're really cutting it close. I'm like, yeah, Ken, they are kind of cutting it a little close. Matt says hot Ken. Yeah, dude, Ken's been like the main conviction for a bunch of us. Zeta had earnings today. I don't even know what these guys do, but let's look at their stocks. Zeta Global, $5 billion company. They're down 10% as well. What the heck does Zeta do? Let me get their numbers. Zeta is a beat on the top and beat on the bottom. 6 cents versus 4 cents of EPS, 314 versus 294. They beat by about 20 million on revenue, beat by 2 cents on EPS. AI advertising. Well, it makes sense why they're down 10% just off knowing their AI advertising. Trade Desk, they're down 40%. Trade Desk is green a little bit on the day, up 1%. So if Trade Desk had a bad earnings, Zeta didn't have bad earnings, not from the top and the bottom, but if guidance was not that good, then I guess that's bad. I still don't know why Trade Desk fell 40%. I didn't have a chance to like look into their earnings, but something about guidance had to be bad. And to me, that means there's some commoditization happening in the ad tech sector. And I wonder why, given AI is this like massive catalyst for advertising. So I'm actually very confused why advertising is not done as well. Whereas SMCI, it is still down 2%. We have nothing on the filings yet. Yeah, still holding on right here. Nothing too crazy. NVIDIA after hours, we'll also keep a track of that because obviously that's going to be important. NVIDIA's up a little bit after hours, so at least that's good to see. Then let me pull up First Solar and Cava's earnings right here, and then we'll keep going from there.
Revenues beating expectations, coming in at 227 million, ahead of estimates of 224 million. Now, same store restaurant sales were up better than expected, up 21% versus the 17.5% estimate. And with 15 restaurant openings in Q4, now they have 367 restaurants. Now, in terms of profit margin, it was a hair less than expected at 22.4 versus 22.8 estimated. And for guidance, the company says it sees same-store restaurant sales growth of 6 to 8% and new Cava restaurant openings of 62 to 66 in fiscal 2025. Now, shifting gears over to First Solar. First Solar earnings per share missing, coming in at $3.65 versus an estimate of $4.70. Revenue, though, beating estimates of $1.51 billion, ahead of estimates of $1.47 billion. Now, looking at First Solar's guidance.
All right, so First Solar, again, missed on EPS, beat on revenue. And that story, nothing too different from what we're seeing right now. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much all the earnings for today. We will keep you updated on SMCI. Cava down 7%, Workday up 7%, Axon up 12%. They're kind of the winners of this earnings. Sezzle as well, small cap up 17%. Buy now, pay later company. SMCI still down 2%. Intuit's up 5%. AMC's up 4%. Instacart down 9%. Axon up 12%. Coupang up 5%. Home Depot up 0.04%. And then Zoom Info up 13% on the day. 5:30 will be the deadline for SMCI. We're going to start with Technical Tuesday. And yeah, at 5:30, we'll keep you updated on if this SMCI 10K is finally out. Having said that, it is time to once again roll the intro.
Boom, baby. We are back in the saddle again. What's up, man? Long time.
How does it feel to be poor?
Dude, I'm really jealous of some. I was yapping at the chat this morning or earlier today. I was like, listen, guys, you don't understand. I trade in a trust. What's up, June? I trade in trust. It's not like I can just go deposit money like you guys. Like, I got to sell shit if I want to move things around. It's no fun, but it is what it is. Cheers, by the way. Celsius was not along. Just so you know.
I got
there you go.
It's my vodka,
Yes.
With the pinky up.
Did you guys congratulate Amit, by the way, on his successful methamphetamine withdrawal recently? He looks back and ready to roll. I did see that bag of something, a little something that somebody gave you at the meetup. So,
it was good.
It happens, man. It happens to the best of us.
All right, so this will be a proper technical Tuesday. We'll be here for the next 3 hours. We will try to get through as many tickers as possible. I think before we get started, let's just give me 2 minutes on your thoughts on what the hell's happening in the past couple of days and why things are down, and then we'll get started with Tesla because I know that's on.
So I'll start with typically all-time highs are not usually bearish. I think that there is some anticipation as we come into the year 2025. We know that there's a couple headline risks, right? So tariffs clearly number one. We haven't gotten to this, but I would say if you start hearing things about deportation, that's probably going to be another big one. I think it's just uncertainty, right? So the market really hates uncertainty in general. And we were up, considerable amount. I don't know if anybody's year-to-date portfolios went red today, but there was,
a lot of people at least got close to being.
I had a nice little flash, not a joke today. But it happens, right? I think some things were gone a little bit too far. Now we come back and we take a breather. The problem with the technical look right now, and I don't know if you said what you want to start with. I think you said Palantir.
No, Tesla. I think Tesla.
Tesla. Okay. You know what, dude? Can we start with SPY?
Yeah, let's start with SPY.
Because we never start with SPY. And I think based on your question, it's probably better to start at the broader index level. Let me get my screen pulled up here. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we can see it. All right. I'm all we. So this is where we are from a weekly perspective. So mind you, this is a weekly view. And there's really nothing broken to be completely crystal clear. If you're just looking at this chart, you're like, what's the problem?
Well, which is kind of wild, right? Because everyone's feeling the pain, but the S&P is looking pretty okay.
Yeah. So I think we are very much on the cusp. So from a series of higher highs and higher lows perspective, so this is your last low, right? We do definitively see, even from here, a series of higher highs and higher lows on a weekly scale, right? So even last week, this is a higher high, right? From this last piece. And so what we want to see, if to taper any kind of oh my goodness kind of feelings, the sky is falling, what we really need to see is if this is the most recent low in this series, okay, we have to hold this. And that's exactly where we are. It's when you get and you drop down into a little bit of a smaller time frame. Let me just do this one last thing. Here's just a channel, right? So this is the channel that we're in from SPY's perspective. So this is the channel that we're in. We've dropped slightly below before, but typically, but typically at the bottom of an uptrend channel, that's usually where you want to be getting long. Now that said, we kind of drop into a smaller time frame of the daily from a daily perspective. And if you guys remember, a few weeks ago I said, hey, look, we're going to get choppy. We were going from trappy to choppy, and it's different. They're two different things. This is the definition of choppy, literally right here. So to put it all in perspective, yeah, so we were looking like a weekly breakout almost. So you have this one day here. This is last week. So this is what we call like a look above and fail, where something just barely breaches your overhead supply. I mean, just barely breach right here. But that doesn't mean that we're out of the weeds at all. What you're looking for is really, you're looking for a higher low to appear. And where that higher low ideally shoulda, coulda, woulda been is right here, 594 spot 24. So if this is the low, the very last daily low, then we would have wanted to see it hold right here. But if you look at today's candle, and this is a daily candle, we have what we call like three, I forgot what they call this, like three white soldiers, something like that. Three red whatevers, right? Three red down days in a row. It's usually the culmination or coming to the end of a trend or a sell-off, if you will. This is clearly exhaustion. But when we zoom out and you look left, you're like, nothing's really broken. So all the doomsday shenanigans, I think, needs to kind of be put to bed for just a minute, because you're a little early on that. That said, what's going on underneath the hood? It's the momentum, stocks that are getting absolutely shellacked, like a Palantir, like a Hood, things like that have been up, 50+% year to date, are now only up like a couple percent year to date, right? If that, maybe sometimes going to red. But no, and I was saying he's looking at a massive double top. I'm not looking at a massive double top. I'm looking at something that's possibly nearing exhaustion. But what's true is that, look, we don't know that this is going to really break down until when? Until we have a breach and fail like that. This right here is the point where you're like, okay, this is when you can get mega bearish, right? But not really before then, because right now it's not there, guys. It's really not there. If that happens, then sure, right? And I will say that we use like NFP levels, things like that. I'm going to turn this off, and I've just now turned on some of these like simple moving averages, things that we're using. So what I'm looking at, we've repriced the stock market basically back to January. That's 588.28. This is when we got January's NFP number, and that is this candle really right here in this box. So right now, this ends up being support. If we lose that, so we're very close to, if we lose this 588.88, then we can say, okay, we're getting a little bit more bearish.
And then 578 is a bit more likely.
If we lose 588, 578 will happen. It's not a question in my mind of whether or not it's going to happen, but we will hit the 200-day, and somewhere in this area, then we would have to see it kind of relax, right? But for now, and I'll just turn just some quick fibs on. I'm going to turn those NFP lines off for just a moment. So what I just did is I took a fib retracement tool. So from this swing low to this swing high, listen, we firmly landed right in what most technicians would call like that golden zone between 50% retracement and a 618% retracement, literally from here to here. So right now, everything's normal, right? And so I got some TLT today. Everything's normal right now. So it's not time to like panic at an index perspective from an index level. What I will say is like, we're looking at rotation. So like, if you look at staples, this is a daily chart of XLP as the staples. This is a flight to safety, right? XLU, I haven't looked at, I'm assuming, it's not falling out of bed. XLV is healthcare. That's usually, so flight to safety, right? One chart that's on my mind right now, very much so, is gold. And gold is a crazy chart because it's just run so far. And I do think that this is kind of topped out, but this is also part of the safety trade. If typically it's been booming, right? But if I start to see gold unwind, then I think that what I'm going to see, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. If I start to see gold unwind, then I think that flight to safety comes apart, right? The staples, things like that. You're getting a lot of good, like Nike's up a lot. I watched you this morning, so I saw Chris talking about CCI and AMT. A lot of those staple safety sectors are up a lot. The only thing I'd say is that they're usually shorter lived, and in the long term, growth wins, but it's very, very choppy. The other thing I'm going to look at is TNX. So,
real quick, Jason, before we continue on the 10-year, we do have a headline for everybody. This is an official headline, no matter how weird it sounds. Trump said he is going to begin a program to sell Trump gold cards. He said this 5 minutes ago for $5 million a card for foreigners who want to come into the U.S. and create a job or to start a business.
What's a gold card?
I don't know.
Is that like Robinhood gold card? Is Robinhood gonna get on that? Because that'd be cool.
And this is starting in 2 weeks. I'll try to get more details as we get through the show. And it's possible Russian oligarchs could qualify for Trump gold cards as well, is what he said.
What is a Trump gold card?
I think it's like a Visa. I think gold, they're saying gold metaphorically. It's not literal gold, but it's like a golden ticket, like Willy Wonka. Is
Yeah. So I saw someone in the chat say they bought some TLT today. So TLT and the longer term bonds are going to be also what we would call that safety trade. And what I have on my screen is TNX, which is the 10-year yield. So this is the yield itself, not the bond itself, two different things. So the yield is coming down, which means that there's actually demand for the 10-year bonds itself. So there wasn't demand if people weren't trying to buy the bonds, then the 10-year yield would be going up because they have to incentivize people to buy the bonds. But because the 10-year is going down, that means it's not. So first of all, guys, the Fed does not control this. This has nothing to do with the Fed, actually. The Fed only has to do with the 2-year. But the 10-year bonds, there's some actual appetite for, like, first time in a while. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing. So what I'm going to be looking for really is the 10-year yield to start going back up and gold to start coming back in or down. And I think that's going to be the first piece of where I'm going to say, okay, I think there might be at least the safety trade might be getting unwound. So it doesn't mean that if the safety trade gets unwound, that growth is going to immediately go back up. It's not like that, right? It's a phase one of a multi-phase kind of thing, but that's what we're going to look for. And as long as these things keep going up, SPY's actually probably going to catch a bid or hold a bid in here. It might be, the area of the market that has some serious damage right now is IWM. So IWM, different than the broader market, that we call this the redheaded stepchild of the group. Anyways, this has definitely lost its most recent uptrend. And I think it's sitting on the 200-day simple moving average. Yeah, right there, that red one. It's just lost it right now. So this one has some real damage. I don't know if Tom Lee's got updates for his portfolio, but this one does not. This actually does not look good. So we'll have to see on this. If this extends any further, this is going sub 200. But for now, this is it.
People are saying SMCI is plunging. It's down 4%. No update, guys, but we have about 45 minutes. I'll give everyone an update whenever the 10K officially comes out. All right, so can we...
Yeah, oh, no, it's back up.
Yeah, it's back up a little bit.
It's ripping.
Oh, no, now it's up. Now it's 9%. Okay, boom, we got it. We got it. I think we got the 10K. I think that's the dip before the rip. It's up 11%, up 12%. It's at 50. Oh, boy, here we go. Let's see this thing go to 60, bro. I just want to see everyone win. Now, I legit want to see everyone win on SMCI. Like, let's see. SMCI, I don't see the 10K on my side. I'm assuming it has to be filed. There's no way. I'm effing rich. Yep. If you are in these short-term calls, hopefully they print. I don't see it on my side, but it has to be out. Let me check another website, SMCI. Now the question is, can it sustain itself? Which I would imagine. Yeah, 10K. Okay, boom, it's filed. It's filed. 10K. Where's the stock? Stock's at 52. Wow. Talk about a reversal, dude. 15%.
So wild, right? That's 15%. It was like $60 like 2 seconds ago or 2 days ago.
Just for filing the 10K, dude. There you go. All right. Congrats to Steve, Chris, and Matt. They got their pump. I mean, they got the pump to where it was like 2 days ago, but nonetheless, they got a pump.
Almost.
It's up 17%, 53. As long as it holds tomorrow morning, they can sell. They can get out of this thing. So where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA on this news is...
This SMCI thing is not convincing yet.
Yeah, I guess we'll see tomorrow kind of how this plays out. All right, Tesla. What the heck is going on with this one? And then we'll keep going from there.
So Tesla lost the level. Well, last time we really covered Tesla. Okay, so we covered it every week since. It was like, okay, I liked it over 375. It failed, right? Failed at 375 in here. This thing has just been, it ran right into that resistance 363, came right back in, which I needed to see this low hold. It needs to be right in here. Today, she lost it. So this is trading. That 320 gap is full. Dude, I don't. This one is a rough one. This one, I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, my question for you, and I think everyone's question is 300 a buy, or is this chart not? Okay, so you're not bullish at this level. Not here.
No, I don't think 300 is a buy. So, I mean, I've taken 2 shots recently. So at this point, it's like, no, I think you have to chill for a minute. Because this, I mean, it's 250s.
Real quick, for everyone in the comments that had just joined, yes, SMCI filed. It happened. It's great. It's up 15%. There's no more coverage other than, yes, they filed. So congrats to everybody. But yes, so for those that are joining, it's filed. We're moving on to TA, but yes, congrats for everybody.
Where's Patrick? Patrick called this like 320 session gap a long time ago. I was like, yep, there it is. But so it's just, it doesn't look that great, right? So like this is where we needed to hold. So on the right hand side of my screen, this is a volume profile. So it needed to hold right in here and reclaim this area. The fact that it didn't, usually when we talk about this, you're usually filling these gaps, which, look, I still own a lot of Tesla. I haven't bought actual shares yet, but I might. I'm probably going to wait to see if sees like 250 right now. Because right now that last little miniature higher high did not hold. It's kind of a weak low. Today's like an exhaustion day. It's a big red day. I don't know that this, like, even if, so here's the thing with the market as a whole. Even if you end up picking up something like that feels like a falling knife and you are green for a little bit, I think where we are in the market, is where we are in the market is that every trade, if you will, needs to be taken for what it is, like just in that very myopic sense, because the broader view, unless NVIDIA and PCE on Friday pull us out of the weeds, starts to change and we have some actual damage back to SPY if this does break these lows. Like if we do break these lows, then there's some actual real damage that happens to the charts. They're not broken, but they're no longer in uptrends. And at best case scenario, what that means is they become neutral. So you're like Bitcoin. We're like, I haven't really been interested in Bitcoin for a while because it's just going sideways, just very neutral. And that can happen for a prolonged period of time.
Okay, so 2 things. First of all, guys, SMCI was up 17%. Now it's up 11%. So again, I mean, they filed it. You can't ask for more than filing it. We'll see throughout the rest of the day if it can hold the pump off the filing. But we'll keep you guys updated on that. Number 2, so you're saying 300 is not a buy because it failed 370, failed 350, failed 320. So you're looking for what?
Well, 320 wasn't like a level, but yeah, it failed. Yeah, so it failed that last 320 low. And we're coming in really hot to this red line is the 200-day simple moving average, but really it's in this box right in here.
Which is 250, right?
Sub 250.
Oh my.
Technically. And that is basically near where I bought it last, unfortunately. So it would be like this. If we do see that, but the problem I have right now is that the velocity that this is coming in with is hot. It's coming in hot, baby. And what I'd like to see is like, even on SPY from a daily perspective, these last 3 days, big hot day, little bit smaller day, and then today, and this is why SPY is more constructive. So see how the candles are getting smaller. So velocity is kind of cooling off. We know that NVIDIA is coming. I wouldn't be surprised to see a day like this, right? Like that's just totally flat tomorrow, where we don't actually break the lows or the highs, and then you want to see some momentum come back in. If you get something like that, that would be ideal, right? But just to expect that we're going to get a big green dingus like that, here's the thing. If we did get a big green candle that looks just like this, you know what I'm going to say? That's a short. And so therein lies really the larger problem, right? Because, this is like, okay, this is where we are. So even if we have something like that, I would expect the following couple days to be neutral to bearish to absorb something like that. So I actually don't want to see like a large comeback, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you this question about Tesla. It's down so much year to date. Does that have anything to do with a little bit of rotation going back into Tesla in the Mag 7, given it's already...
It's momentum, right? So the momentum stocks are getting hit the hardest, right? So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this day is the biggest day. I think, you called this early. And
when did I call this?
What you said was that Tesla needs a catalyst. What is the catalyst, right? Tesla really, it does trade like a proxy to Elon. That's true. But it really also needs that catalyst. So we
do have two catalysts, which is Robotaxi and FSD and catalysts associated with them, but they're not short term.
I mean, very, very specific events, right? Because like what you're talking about are not catalysts. Those are like fundamental theses, right? So like Robotaxi day, that was a catalyst, right? Earnings is a catalyst. FSD launching in China is not a catalyst because it was just news. Does that make sense? Like we need an event.
Yeah. By the way, guys, again, for people in the chat, I'll just tell you right now, SMCI filed. We talked about it. There's nothing more to say. So if you came to the stream literally for SMCI coverage, we could do some TA on it, but they filed.
Yeah, it doesn't
nothing more to say about it.
It doesn't look good. It didn't, we'll have to see tomorrow. It looks better than it did earlier. But this is what we were looking at this last week was like, hey, look, I personally don't like to trade things around the 200-day simple moving average, like when it's real tight, because it can look great and then all of a sudden look absolutely crap. And then also right away look like great again too. So it gets really choppy. From a technical perspective, interestingly enough, you kind of did come right back into these areas. Right. Oops, sorry. I got to go even smaller. Right back into here today, oddly enough, which was right before they did their pre-earnings announcement high and then recovered. But this line right here, again, that's where they got the notice about their financials and where they sold off to $60.73. They got there. They have not yet had a close above. They've traded above it, but not like a full day's close above that area. So I just switched to a daily perspective. This is where they broke down. It's all been erased. All of this, nightmare down here has been erased. So that's no longer there. Good job. But you're still kind of in it, right? You're not over it. I think at this point for me, if I'm going to trade it, I actually have to see it firmly over $60 to reload something.
Do you think this 15% pump after hours, is there any confidence in you that it can hold, or how are you thinking of it?
Not yet. If I just look at this right here, this is just a clean downtrend. And even right now, at this very moment, I'm still seeing a lower high from even today's pre-market. So this is today's pre-market levels. It's still not even over it.
All right.
I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, I'm not trying to be, but and this is, if I draw that across, I have a little bit, this is now your overhead area, slightly over your 200-day, which is 53, but I wouldn't use that as a hard line in the sand. It's going to get really choppy. So you can blink when a stock is trading here, you can blink and it'd be like whoosh. But so what I was saying over 60 is I actually would rather see something like this before I went back in, if that makes sense. Because then it's far enough away from the 200-day. It's back over like this overhead's kind of supply right now. And I'd rather see something like that I have a little bit more confidence instead of trying to catch a bottom per se.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry. I don't have a bias one way or the other. I'm just literally just reporting what I'm reading.
To finish up on Tesla, so your thesis is wait for 250 at this point.
Or like a larger reversal. So again, back over my last stop, which would have been 235. So either it's back over this area, but right now, it's got to be over this. This is the same thing. So there's this volume shelf here over this area here. And the other thing is, even if it got down here to it's 250, it's a range, and I'm gonna 250. You're gonna hate me, Amit. Down to 225.
It's Tesla. It's done those moves before, right?
It's Tesla, yeah. So this is the last earnings report here, the big, surprise. At that point, the way you can look at it is if we do see 260s, 250s, something like that. And again, if you're long term, don't do this tomato thing. Don't be overly precise. What do you care? 250 versus 255 versus 260 long term. You really shouldn't.
Right.
What does Amit really care? Robinhood 45, 50, 55. I don't really understand. But
anyway, making fun of me because I haven't bought the dip until today. So
all good. But anyways, yeah, I think this is, if you buy the dip here, look at it's like this, it's just like Robinhood. If you didn't own it, and this goes for a lot of things in the market, and you guys know I'm not a Google fan, but even Google having pulled back all of the Willow dip or rip, if you didn't own it, this becomes the time to stick your toe in the water on something that you own, but be prepared to buy lower. If that makes sense, right? And seasonally, it's the end of February. So if you're gonna do your average DCA buys into even S&P 500s, if you're gonna do semi-annual DCA, the semi-annual DCA would be once in February and once in September, right? When it's bloody red. Those are the two worst months of the year, and here we are. But so that said, we might not. It might get worse before it gets better. There's a saying, it's don't go until you see the whites of their eyes. I don't know if that's the whites of their eyes just yet. Don't take your shot until you see the whites of their eyes. Very close.
Okay,
so
so the thesis here is that 250 could happen, but wait for a better.
I'm not selling this. This is not a sell. If you want to trade it short, cool. You can continue to trade it short. but I think that you might get another shot closer to 250, if not like around that area. So this box here becomes 260 down to 218 right in here in this gray box.
Vsop says if it gets to 225 again, I'm selling the engagement ring I have in my sock drawer, and the lady going to have to wait.
I mean, yeah, you could. That's for sure. It's very possible. What's that?
All right, can we do okay, hold on. We have a quick update on CNBC about SMCI.
Yeah.
And then we'll do Palantir. We'll get that ready to go. For those just joining again, SMCI did file. We are not reading the 10K right now. Eventually, we will get into I'll get into a bunch of the 10K stuff tomorrow. And then I'll give you guys the updates on what's happening with the 10K. Do I have
you guys like starting with SPY too, by the way? We never do that.
I do not. Okay, never mind. I don't have the update. If I have the update, we'll switch to it, but I don't have the update. All right.
Can you ask a poll? Was it helpful to start at the market level?
You're muted. Oh wait, no, sorry. I was muted. You're good. Never mind. You
muted me. Can you make a poll just to see if it was helpful for them to start like high level at the indexes?
Yes.
Okay, so Palantir, man. You guys, I've been texting Amit. Is it time? Because I'm just like the rest of you guys. I want to front run Amit. So I want to know when he's like, if he's gonna buy, I gotta do it first. But he hasn't said yet. What I will say is it's really, it's getting there. Technically speaking, here's that 50-day simple moving average. Here we are, right? 50-day SMA, bing, today. And this is that big breakout. As of today, this is like Robinhood, right? As of today now, Palantir, thank you, Matt. As of today, Palantir's given back that quarter. Do you guys notice? Did you notice that, Amit?
Yeah, 30% down completely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's basically giving back that quarter, and we've seen a lot of this so far. So it's interesting. It is kind of interesting. So this box goes kind of deep, and I'm going to use this volume show. So where we spent a lot of time at what price is really in this box right here. This is from just underneath $80 down to the 73s. And so I don't know if you guys remember, but there was like we call reload seller right over here, 67s. And this is kind of going to be an event where if we do see it, I don't know that we see it for very long. But this is where we are. So underneath the significant simple moving averages, I'd rather let it fall personally. I don't think it's bad, but I'd rather let it fall a little bit and then wait till I see a higher low underneath a large simple moving. Large meaning like this is the 50-day simple. So the 20-day simple is up here where we lost it. These two simple moving averages, they're going to even out at some point. And so that is exactly where the rest of the market is. We're like, even if you nail a low here, I think it's going to be a longer term road to actually get back at this point, right? So because we come so far on some of these momentum stocks, like Amit and I were looking at some hood options today. We're like, I like the hood bounce, and I shot him like, well, what about these May debit spreads? And we're both like instantly, no, that's not enough time. Right? Because I think that we will need to give the market a little bit of room to breathe before we think about having I don't want to jump the gun and be like, oh, we're going to have a V recovery. That said, though.
Meaning it's not as easy for Palantir to go up 30%, even though it came down 30%.
No, but that said, I think, we were doing one of our mastermind classes last night, and one of the guys was talking about some, they have very deep in the money Palantir calls. And I'm like, no, I don't like in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s. And I'm like, this is probably one of those times where, like, just so you know, from an options perspective, if you sit there in your overly deep in the money calls, you're going to lose more net dollars now as this is coming down versus if you took the opportunity to roll up and out, right? Or just up. So put some money in your pocket. I think if you guys are in that camp of like, I have some overly deep in the money calls on things, we finally get a pullback. You can roll those calls up, meaning sell the strikes, buy a higher strike that might still be in the money, put some money in your pocket, and you still keep the entire trade on at the same time. These are kind of like the opportunities for that. And in the meantime, that's going to protect you from a net dollar exposure in the market. But yeah, so I think Palantir, it can come in a little bit. This is more than 15%. So we're used to seeing 15%. This is about 30%.
This is the worst 3-day stretch since late 2022 on Palantir.
Yeah.
So it's really been a couple of years since we've had this type of volatility in the speed that we've had it.
It's the speed, it's the velocity, right? When I was like freaking out, I called him at this day. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Velocity, no good. But again, look, if I got to be real, if I'm a technician and I'm simply looking at charts, at the end of the day, what this is a breakout of this level, and I'm now retesting it, right? Like that's what the chart is. That's what it is. So I'm retesting the prior breakout level. It can go deeper and it can even breach this, but any of this is still, it's a retest of that prior breakout level. That's technically what it is. So while it feels scary, cool, is it time to buy? I don't know, but we want to see a couple days of at least sideways action before it's probably ideal to jump in. I don't think it's horrible to dip your toe in the water here because it's a pretty clean retest, man. I don't know if you saw this, but like that is the retest. And I'm zooming in. Literally, I'll take this box down. Let me get it exact. Exact. I mean, 85.21 was an exact retest of this day high. It bounced, but it's not a strong bounce. It's like it stopped.
So, okay.
Interesting.
Does 85 look attractive then on the charts or?
Yeah. So 85 looks like a price of interest. So again, I want to be somewhat cautious here because like just because something's at your level doesn't mean you want to automatically go in and buy it. It's just like, I want to watch it pretty closely. What you're looking for really is you go back on this daily chart. And so now if this is your last 1, 2, 3 days, what you're looking for is you're going to look for yesterday's low and today's high. So 2 things. So I'm going to make this green and we'll make this, I don't know, we'll make this orange, right? So yesterday's low of 89.30. This is important because if you close the day over yesterday's low like this, then you're no longer really, you're not going down anymore as long as you're over 89.93. If I'm over today's high 91, then I am going up. That's what's true. But the thing is, where am I going up to? You still have a little bit of overhead supply, right? So this 99s, it's really actually going to be 95 first. You would go up to here. And then if that were to recover, then you basically just go one day at a time. And that I think is where the real problem kind of lies, is that the whole market is like, okay, I have to do this one day at a time at this point, because if I'm a good bull, I really have to know where the bears are lurking. And dude, the bears are going to be lurking right here, just under $100, right in here. 98s, 97s. So that's where they're hiding out. So you might, and this is where I'm saying, it looks good, but even if you get a bounce like this, you have to be cautious that the next move might be this.
Yeah. Essentially it's a dead cat.
Yeah. So I think that you look for a dead cat to show up, but then after the dead cat shows up, then it gets really interesting to see where does that dead cat end, right? Because like if it ends and then you get some more movement like that, that's much better, right? But this whole trajectory is like 1, 2, 3 days green, cool, big red day, inside like sideways day, and then I can start to maybe recover. And this whole process might take us into early March, right?
And why did you say the bears would be lurking at 90 or 100?
This is where they last sold it, right? So even if you, so where they want a dead cat bounce, this is actually going to be about your 20-day simple moving average. So we want to be good. I'm a good bull. That's the moral of this story. So if you want to be a good bull, you always have to know where the bears are hiding, right? So this white line is the 20-day simple moving average. As we get there, it's probably going to kind of even out. It might be around here. And that's where they're going to be. And they're going to be sitting there waiting. So you don't want to be the bull that's putting new money to work right here just to get shot at.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the downside from 85 you see if we are still stuck in a downtrend? Like for Tesla, you said it could be 250. For Palantir, is there a target?
67s.
Which is reasonable. I mean, that's where we were in January, right? If we...
Yeah, so like if the market really pulls us back to like slight red, then you want to kind of assume that anyways, like the whole, like everything can kind of go back to the January levels. And that, I think to your point, is right there. But that is that's the very low end of this consolidation here. So basically 85 needs to hold, give or take. It's right here. 80s, let's call it 80s needs to hold. Otherwise you're gonna go a little bit. Let me do this. Let's get like, do you guys mind spending a little extra time here?
Yeah.
This one?
No.
So I'm kind of interested. So what I just did is I pulled out a profile tool. This is point of control for literally just that range right there. So I just took this tool and I was like, okay, from this breakout right before earnings, what is the point of control? Meaning, where is the price spent the most amount of time? So this is actually back to the 75s. So 80 might be a little ambitious. Is it? And this makes a lot of sense. 75 is kind of like that center line of this area. Down to 73. So like really in the weeds value area here is right there. And that kind of lines up with this group of market participants from early December. So Christmas. So right in that Christmas chop zone. So remember that was that last, this is that last big dipper. The day where it opened and then it went down 17%, 18%, and then spent a lot of time kind of chopping back and forth. This, by the way, is really what I'd like to see. Really what I'd like to see is Palantir start to do this. And then once I see this like barcode action happen, then I think I can get a better grasp on where the bases really started to show up. But until we have that sideways action like this right here, then I have a hard time trying to decipher where are the new participants showing up. Today is like the first semblance of like possibly sideways action. I mean, how much is Palantir down today?
4%.
3%. 3%. Yeah. But that's the smallest day. So at least the candles are getting smaller, right?
Dude, at 125, the candles were smelling like vanilla chai. Like I have those vanilla chai scented candles. Like, those are really nice candles.
Now, I mean, I would actually have to disagree because they were getting really small. This last press, how small these were. These are really
at 125, bro. The candles still smelled good. Now they don't smell as good. Not anymore. Look, from my perspective,
like me a good vanilla chai. I can't lie.
I think the run to 25 was really quick, just like some other stocks we'll talk about, like HIMS. And sometimes gravity takes place, right? And it's not sustainable going up that quick. I mean, like
SMCI not going to moon to the
where-
moon, guys. Dude, how is this the SMCI channel? What's
I don't
going
know.
on?
I didn't realize these many people cared about SMCI, but yeah.
You guys know, I was going to say something really
No,
bad.
that was me. Everyone's gonna get mad at you. Say some nasty shit about him. SMCI up 15%, guys. It's great. It's good.
Dude, SMCI was moving like 15% an hour. It's crazy, dude.
Okay, so to wrap up on Palantir, then we'll move on to Nvidia. You think we need to hold 80s?
Dude, first of all, the most important stock in the market is not Nvidia, it's Robinhood. It could be Palantir, but yeah, you would like it to hold in this area. I like it to hold in this area. Honestly, ideally, I'd love to see some chop, like really nasty, sideways, extremely frustrating price action right in here. That would be beautiful. That looked frustrating. But if I did see that, dude, I'm telling you, that's what you want to see.
That wouldn't be frustrating to me as a long. I would feel comfortable.
No, I would feel much more comfortable getting long after something like that.
Yes, 100% agree. 100%.
And so, by the way, if anybody's really concerned about what's going on here, let's be very real. I think that this last pull, like so in trading, there's different terms for different things. But what happens across the board is that when you get this big move after earnings session, this is like psychology of trading. What happens after you get a big move of earnings like this, people actually put stop losses on their stocks, right? And so they so first day here, stop, right? And then next day they put a stop. And then they just kind of like what you call trail up your stop. And so you have these stops. So I'm putting a bunch of lines here. I want you to see something. And so you get an instance where like all of a sudden I have people's stops are basically trailing up, right? Do you see this? All these stops. I'm just putting the stop up to that prior day low. And what happens is you get a stop run. On that first day, look at this first day. What happened was everybody that was putting their stops up to that prior day low just went, and they got annihilated in one shot. Kaboom.
Right.
This is a regular setup. This is a very regular thing. It's this follow through that happened that now, okay, you're having more stops. So the recovery and remember I said this recovery is back up to 99 near term, but you have to be very cautious at that point because those people, anybody that has runners left on, you want to know, are they going to sell what they have left, if they have anything left, or are they going to buy back? And if you see them buy it back, it's just like this. Cool. Remember that 108 was like, we were saying, hey, 108's got to be a big deal. It's got to get over the sum. It's just like this. Sorry, there's a lot of lines in my chart that might be distracting, but hopefully that paints a picture of a story that kind of just happened. Anybody that was moving new money into Palantir or just got in right before earnings, look, they were just weak hands and they were moving their stops up day by day and they all got stopped out. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And now we just need to see, are they going to buy it back?
All right.
This is when you have that kind of situation. This is actually typical.
I think the most bullish thing is if we consolidate in this range for the next month or two and we definitively build support here, I don't think that's horrible.
I got Palantir for my dollars. That's hilarious.
Someone said I got Palantir. I haven't heard that one before. I've heard Palantirs.
Yeah, Palantirs is good too.
Yeah. All right, let's do Hood, then we'll do Nvidia, and then we'll do Rocket Lab. We'll do Hood first, and then we'll do the rest. Why don't you tell everyone how much you've married this stock? Because at this point, you might as well let people know this is like
I'm not married.
You're wearing a green shirt, bro. Like your fire's green. Like you're a hoodie. It's official.
Dude, okay, so it is the theme color for sure. I am I was engaged. We had a date for the marriage, and yeah, I'm literally walking up to the altar right now. Big Daddy. That's what's happening. I'm
No,
literally.
you got eloped already, dude. It's already
I
happening.
mean, I did not elope yet, but I'm walking down the aisle as we speak, man.
Like
I
this
love
is
stock.
this is far and away the number one position in your portfolio now.
I sold a good chunk of Apple to buy some hood.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
You didn't tell me that. That's breaking
I
news to me.
told you I was gonna do it.
You didn't tell me you were gonna sell Apple.
Yeah, I mean, I was up a lot on Apple, but I also know we could look at Apple, but Apple is just, dude, I know where we are. Apple is the last general to fall. You guys are going to hear all the talking heads on CNBC sooner than later be like, oh, Apple's completely detached the market. And be like, oh, it's a great place to hide out. Don't even listen to them. It's just the last general to fall. That's all Apple is. So it's going to have its day in the sun.
I'm actually, no, I like the move, dude. Apple for hood is a no-brainer to me, but I didn't think you'd do it. But.
I mean, so I sold a little Amazon earlier too, but I think Amazon probably just bought them today. We're very close to. The thing is that like I was only supposed to really be buying one stock right now, and now I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of stuff I kind of want to start buying. So I might be in trouble. It would suck to be in an early marriage and start cheating on her like so quickly. I'm like, dude, that's not cool. I'm not a cheater, man. I don't roll that way. But you know, it's hard to just have one love. Okay, let's get on with it. All right. I think we're very similar in Robinhood. Do I think that we can come lower? I really do, realistically. So I said last week, my plan was if we lost the 20-day, which we did, right? Not going to sell. So I want to take my shot here. I took my shot. It was green for like a glorious 5 minutes, the best 5 minutes in my marriage. And then it quickly reversed on me. Like, whatever, dude. So, you know, now I think we are probably, I'm going to guess here. Yeah, boom. So that blue line is that 50-day simple moving average. Interesting. We are below it. Similar to Palantir, though, we're much further below this quarterly report, but we are back into that prior support zone right in here, which is just around 40. $50 support does exist. It is right here, by the way, but we are actually below it. Well, not actually, obviously below it. And so, you know, for now, this is where it gets weird, right? I think that we could see close to 40, but this is where I do want to start getting more into this. I bought a token 500 shares today. I'll probably start picking it up in larger chunks if we see close to 40. But the thing is, like, if the market starts to break down, I mean, it's right. Like, and he's super bearish on Robinhood, just so you guys know. I kept telling, he keeps giving me all the bear cases. He doesn't give me any bull cases anymore. But it's just like, it looks like the market needs to be healthy for Hood to go. And he's probably not wrong. That said, I think that the real area here is about $40 right in here. So can this go a little bit lower? It really could. So I sold, what did I do? I sold the $50 puts for April for just over $5. Let me see. They sold them for, I sold them for $5.25 a piece. And today I sold a little $40 puts for April as well. That's what I've done so far. And I bought 500 shares. And I nibbled on some leaps. Okay, so I did the trifecta. So I sold some puts, bought some shares, bought some leaps. But
so here's the question. On the chart at 45, I know you said that if the market gets hit, we can see lower, but
the problem here is that I have high conviction long term, and I know that can get me in a lot of trouble. So I do want to like taper expectations, right? This is not like I'm going to sell this anytime soon, right? Even if it gets back to 65 tomorrow, I'm still not going to sell it.
Right.
But I think this is definitively that first real support. This $50 support is there, but it's very weak. And if we do get a bounce, I'm going to need to see it get well over that $50 level, and then we can firm it up like this. For now, it's going to be very similar to Palantir. We're like, if I do get some breaches lower, right? Like if we do get this, I'd like to see a lot of candles, like sideways candles for a while, and create this base in here. That would be ideal. But momentum, same thing today. It's down a couple percent, but it's actually smaller. Not as 8% down today. Come on.
I mean,
Is it really down 8%?
It's down 30% from the highs.
Well, yeah, but today it's like a little blip.
Yeah.
Because it was 48 just the other day, which is going to be right into my. So this is the overhead supply. It's got to get over this again. 48. It's got to get over 48 to be like, okay, it's back in the uptrend. So for now, I got to let it chill. And then you can buy a little bit, start here. Just know it can, I can easily see $40 happening. Then I'm going to get more aggressive.
And the calls you bought were $100 strikes for 2027, right?
Yeah, 2027.
Okay. What do you think about the velocity of the drop on? It's kind of similar to Palantir, basically.
Yeah, it's very similar to Palantir. And we're like, I could do that same exercise from a day-to-day perspective. And like you see right in that $50 level, we're coming in, like if they had their stops today, it's like 46, right? And they're just kind of moving it up. We got hit with all this. So because of that, I need to get back over. And these guys all went quickly, right? So all this happened super fast. And honestly, I started buying too early. So I'm like, I have just absolutely decimated my average to the point where I took it off my screen. Don't ask me what it is anymore because I don't know. It's very irritating because I don't think it matters either.
This is the one thing I'm a bit proud of myself. I did not buy from 60 to 45 because I just felt if the market's
bullshit. I saw you put a post out that you bought some shares.
No, I didn't. I
62 or something, didn't you?
No, that was after earnings. I'm talking about since the decline. I have not bought because I've been afraid that if crypto tanks, which it's tanking, and the market tanks, Hood will get a little bit hit. But I think now down 31%. That's why I bought today. Because I'm like, at some
did you play the clip from that guy that used to be the CEO of TD Ameritrade? No. It was like a Fast Money clip. The old CEO of TD Ameritrade comes in. They were asking him, forgot who it was, Tim Seymour, was asking the guy, well, if anybody's going to have a take on Robinhood, it's going to be him. And he was like, yeah, it's a buy. He's like, we've been super patient, but
no, but that's the thing. Below 50 is everyone knows it's a buy. The problem is if we do get into a bit of a bearish 5-6 months, Hood trading volumes go to shit, and I think this thing could be back to 30 very easily. So I still do think it is a proxy on the bull market.
Great. I mean,
30 would be insane.
First of all, if it's 30, then why not 25?
No, that's my point. I think there's a much more serious drawdown on Robinhood if the market isn't bullish the next 5 months. Like it's inevitable in my opinion, because they won't show up the growth. They will not live up to expectations.
Yeah. And like Robinhood has so many levers to pull. Like there's so much more to go. Someone was asking me today, like versus like Coinbase, because Coinbase was getting absolutely hit too. And I'm like, no, I mean, it wasn't even like, I don't hate Coinbase, but I love Robinhood.
No, but Coinbase sucks because they are so tied to Bitcoin that if Bitcoin,
that's what I was like. There's only one line of business, and honestly, I don't even know that it really has that big of. It doesn't even have a moat from that perspective. Anyway,
I agree. And Hood is not the same because it's more diversified. But the problem is its diversification comes through stocks and options.
Did you buy Hood today because Vlad said he's gonna let you trade real estate on his platform?
I didn't buy for that reason, but that was a hell of an argument that he.
Is that wild? I was like, what? Like, what is that? Like, that's got to be way down the road. Well, so like, if we do bounce on something like that, I'm like, okay, that's probably BS. But
no, but he's talking about tokenized blockchain. So I don't.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, that shit is like way early.
Yeah, that is a long time away. The reason I bought today was because down 30%. I feel like you have to. The whole point of DCA is to dollar cost average, right? So my next buy will be in the 40s if we get there. But at 45, at some point you got to pull the trigger. And
I mean, I pulled the trigger. I instantly bought an extra 400 shares for you when I saw this very little 100 share buy. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? So I rounded it out for you. But anyways, yeah. So here's the current downtrend. I think that's what you need to do is just like, however you guys do this on your line, or if you don't follow me, because the second that this downtrend breaks, you better believe I'm going to be posting it. And that's really what I'm going to be looking for, right? So this is the current downside channel. Even if this gets up to like basically where it was today, like in the 48s, I'm not going to be overly bullish. What I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for a break, pullback, retest, and then go. And that is what I'm going to be looking for. So you can do this very simply. Is just take this last high and take this channel of lows. And then we might need to be somewhat cautious because there's this little peak. So this is exactly what I'm going to be expecting to see is something just like this. It's going to be a fake break initially. Then it's going to pull back. It's going to lock a higher low, which might be above what it is today. Let's say if this is tomorrow, it would be like 48s, which again, I've said 48 like 5 times so far in this little session. So 48 is, I mean, it is a very important spot on the chart where it's going to pivot from uptrend to downtrend, if you will.
Yeah, my thoughts on this are pretty simple, dude. If we get into a bearish market the next 5 months, Robin, it's going much lower. If not, then we sustain it. And that's it. Like, I literally think that's going to be the thesis.
You guys didn't know Celsius was not along, though.
It was not. But before Celsius, can we do NVIDIA? Because we got to get that out of the way.
It's only you that's there's nobody in the chat that was asking.
No,
for
dude,
NVIDIA.
everyone. We got Evan. Evan's asking for NVIDIA. Evan's owned NVIDIA since $5. So we got to.
Dude, it's only you because it's now become your largest position.
No, it's not. I don't even care that much. But like tomorrow is going to matter for NVIDIA a little bit. just a tiny bit. Like,
dude, so the problem is it's completely neutral. Do you have some covered calls on your shares?
No, I have none, dude. I'm going straight raw dogging into this earnings.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Usually I don't do that, but this one I'm not capping the upside at all. I think the IV is 12%.
Well, so this was the last one. What's the average? Did you have it ready?
I mean, it's closer to 9%. It was 12, but because of the last couple quarters, it's probably lower here. Someone said, what percentage of revenue do order flows make up for Hood? It is, I think, more than 60%. It's a decent amount.
So on average, it moves 6%. That's 6.5%. What is priced in to the option chain? You're not going to do anything, huh? So currently, $13. Wow, a $13.50 move is priced in. On average, it moves just under 6%, which would actually be $7.50. So you're like $5 overpriced.
I think the average move though here is bullshit. Because I think if they give spectacular guidance for 2025,
it's because the last quarter was 0.5%, and then you have this, and then you have a 0.1. You only have one quarter that was I'm zooming in. So you have this quarter, Q1 or Q4 right here. Jesus, what the hell? Q4 2024, that was 16%. Then you had a follow-up of 10%, just about, and you got like decrease of a move. I'm not differentiating whether it was upside or downside. This point it was like, so it was 125.
That's my point. I think tomorrow either the guidance is amazing or not, and the street will react violently, up or down.
Yeah, even at the 16% move, NVIDIA was trading at $70. And it went to 80.
That was last February, this time last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a pretty. That's why I'm not doing covered calls. I think it's going to be violent, but I mean,
You think it's underpriced basically because these last couple quarters we're getting subsequent.
and we fell from 140 to 128 now, right?
Yeah, I think the good thing here is that like if you do get the average downside move, you're right back to where you were like a couple days ago. And I don't know.
For DeepSeek, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's a big deal. I mean, at the same time, I don't see it. So here's my question to you: what would they have to say to break it out over 145?
I think they would have to say Blackwell is doing way better than expected. They would have to put up $9 billion this quarter in Blackwell revenue, $40 billion for the quarter. They would have to definitely guide for $42 billion for next quarter. And analysts would have to see a reasonable path. They get close to $5 of EPS this year. If that's what the guide implies. Oh, also gross margins cannot go below 75%. If those 4 or 5 things happen, I think it pumps. Now, what's the downside? If they say anything about CapEx is not good, but we already have the CapEx numbers, right? Like I guess there's definitely things they could say that are bearish, but I'm not expecting that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chain. So if you go April, wow. March
NVIDIA also just, yeah, I mean, SMCI is pumping right now, which is great. If NVIDIA really crushes, I think SMCI pumps.
Dude, every time you say that, I want to call bullshit.
What, NVIDIA for SMCI?
SMCI pumping. Okay, it's almost there. It's almost there.
It's up 23%. It's pumping. It's a hell of a move, right? Imagine if you bought it at 4 p.m., you're up 23%. Like,
yeah.
I mean, but if NVIDIA crushes, like, then I think SMCI has room to really hit that $70, $80 level that most people are saying is fair value.
Yeah. Dude, I almost took a pairs trade on just shorting AMD because NVIDIA was going to report. I almost feel like that could have been a good one to get back into. Oh, well, I missed it.
No.
Did you see this thing? $100.
Okay, so the summary on NVIDIA is, I mean, earnings determines it tomorrow.
Yeah, this is so neutral. It's like it's insane. This is completely neutral. I think for me, like I can look at this and I'm like, depending on where it closes tomorrow.
All right, can we
yeah.
Can we do Rocket Lab? Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I wish I had a better call for you. But
no,
this one
is
just like
I mean, earnings is tomorrow, so there's not much.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Literally. Did you say Rocket Lab? Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah, we'll do Rocket Lab, then we'll do HIMS, guys. We'll do that after Rocket Lab.
And then I have a request too, so I promised someone that I would do too.
Yeah.
What happened? Ooh. See, you sold your puts too early.
I did. I definitely sold those too early. I sold them when it was at 28, bro. Like I could have waited 2 days. Yeah, it was not the best time to sell them. But I have till March 28th. I didn't realize I had that much time on them, so I mean, I guess we'll see.
So you're gonna sell some more, or what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, I bought 200 shares today. That's the only other thing I did. But
I actually don't hate buying it here. This is like, I mean, this is typical. Like right into the report, we see stuff like this Thursday. Today is Tuesday. If we see this go green tomorrow, I might hammer some too.
The other reason it fell today is because of a short report. So, I mean, that's what hurt it even further than the macro.
What is the short interest on this bad boy?
Let me check right now. Rocket Lab short float as of January 31st is 12.5%.
It's not a lot. You got a lot of overhead supply. And this is now still in the situation where like, ooh, if you get to 28, anybody that's not convicted might sell on you.
All right, let me ask this question. What's the probability?
21 was my level. That's that prior all-time high.
What is the probability of this thing going back to $12? Like, how do you see that on the charts?
Well, I think it's more like 14
in a downtrend.
in a downtrend.
Yeah, like if earnings sucks, like on the charts.
Oh, on the earnings. I don't guess that stuff. I literally have to crunch numbers. So, and if I don't have it, then I can't do anything for you guys, because like trying to predict direction is just like, it's such a crazy fool's errand on earnings to me. It's just insane. 28.4. So I have to take, and this is no guessing here. I'm at least running with some data.
About 10%.
So 8% average move. This is 2 points when they were 4, 5, 6. I do think it's a different company than when it was there. 8% is not 28. I have a feeling this might be underpriced this time. 8%. I would actually call bullshit on this one of an 8% average move. Oh, what? Yeah, see. When Rocket Lab has a big quarter, it's going to have a big move, and it just started to have those. I don't know that the historicals are really fair here. I might go as far as saying that this might be underpriced, bro.
Does the chart look bearish to you at all, or no?
Oh yeah, I mean it's got to stop here now. It's got to stop here now. So I think this is where you could take a stab. That's why I was like, if I see this turn green tomorrow, I don't hate it, but I think this $16 to $15 area is where you would have to be prepared if the market turns on your stock. Yeah, so like, and that makes a lot of sense. So that $16, $15 level is, if the market, yeah, it's game time, dude. It's game time. So that's where Rocket Lab was. And so whatever happened here on this earnings has got to be solidified. Is it Neutron turning positive, turning profit?
No, it would be, well, Neutron hasn't happened yet, but the short report said that it would be delayed by 2027. And if that happens, I could see the stock getting hit badly. But, we'll find out in the next few days if it is. And then see, I just don't know enough about Rocket Lab fundamentally, so I don't know if there's like a real chance. Like yeah, like there's not like Robinhood where I actually can make a prediction.
So I think you have to know. I think you have to know the downside is 16. Upside's more like 26. If they delay it though, it's deeper than 16.
Yeah.
Basically, because you have to, it's more like it's more like put it in the drawer and forget about it for a little bit. I think the space thing remains though like a theme. It's more like, oh God, you guys are gonna really hate me if I say these numbers. I don't like to do that. 12. Let's do this. Let's do this. From the swing low. If they have a good quarter, nothing's delayed. If they have a good quarter, nothing's delayed. And you see a dip to 18s, I think that's buyable. If it's a double beat, nothing's delayed, all good. And you see a dip to 18, that's probably buyable, 1850. Otherwise, it's in this 14 level.
All right, that's what we got on Rocket Lab. Can we do hymns? And then we'll do SOFI.
You guys, I have no. It's just the charts. It's male astrology. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
So. Correct.
Right.
It might not ever happen. SMCI, by the way, guys, is up 22.8%, almost 23%.
Did it break? Did it break?
It's at 23%. 66 was the 52-week high.
Bro, so this is where it was trading this morning. This morning you didn't have a 10K. The fact that you now have a 10K and it's not over where it was in the pre-market.
Wait,
a little
it wasn't
saucy.
it wasn't here in the pre-market. It was here 2 days ago. In the pre-market, it was
No,
like,
dude, turn your charts on. This is today's pre-market session, 55.90.
oh shit, you're right. You're so right. Yeah, yeah.
This is where it kind of sold off. But yeah, you're right. This is 20-something%,
Yeah.
which means that it was down 20% today. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, from the pre-markets, yeah, technically.
God, that's 30%. Is that real life? Jesus.
That is
Okay, it was down 20% intraday today. Wow.
10K. They submitted the assignment on time.
Yeah. So at least, so tomorrow, holding this $56 level, I think is going to be important if you're going to watch, right? Tomorrow, if SMCI is back on the uptrend, at least over 56, you guys are really going to laugh at me now. Then you should see 60. but you know,
well, that's why
if you can hold over 60, then it's all good.
But that's why Nvidia matters, because what's the catalyst to take this higher? I would imagine it's their biggest customer doing well. Like,
yeah,
that wouldn't
I
hurt.
would still just rather Dell. I mean, I like Dell.
Now, why would you rather Dell over? Dude, even with the volatility of SMCI, I'd rather have that one over Dell. I feel like Dell has zero catalysts. Their margins are worse than SMCI.
No.
Yes, they are.
What are you talking? Are you talking about the company or the server business?
No, but their margins are bad. Dell
for the whole company, like
yeah.
the company sells a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah, their margins are shit for a lot of stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of.
They don't even include operating margins in their press release. That's how bad it is. At least SMCI gives you those margins.
Oh, that's probably why. I don't hate Dell here.
I don't know. I feel like SMCI has a lot more volatility to play with.
I think Dell's going to report before Dell reports also.
Yeah, their volume is definitely higher in figures. Okay, cool. Can we do HIMS? And that one's down 23% today. Question is this a buy the dip on HIMS too?
So it's down here on the headline of the GLP-1s not being in shortage anymore, right? And I guess so. Like, I guess they do sell. First of all, they do sell the brand name weight loss shots, but they just make a very small amount. So they make like 5%, I think, versus like 50% profit on the compounded ones. So I thought it wasn't expensive, but I think from a forward P it is. But now, even after this 20% down, I think you have two. So you have this first wave, 30% in a day. What we needed to see, and I think what you can monitor from here, so 230, 60%. So you can monitor short interest. So we know that the short interest was 35%, right, Mitt? If you were to refresh that today, would you get it live?
I don't have it live, but it's 32% as of 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so 32% is less than it was, slightly, still a lot. So shorts are starting to maybe cover a little bit.
I think they covered on the run to 70, but now they're excited because it went back down.
Yeah. So you want to see that start to cover. But even then, it's like, okay, you remember that conversation? There's not bears and there's not bulls. Just because your short is covering doesn't mean that the people are getting net long again. I think this is an area of interest, 35s. I think a lot of people probably have cost basis more in the 20s, but definitely some in the 30s. So like if you hold this area, you're just like everything else, except this just is so much more wild. This is actually where I bought it. Like in this area.
How do you make sense of the chart looking like a meme coin? Like is that bearish?
How do I make sense of it?
Yeah, like as a technician, do you like that? Do you hate
that?
No.
This is not what a meme coin looks like. If you want to know what a meme coin looks like, oh, sorry. This is what a meme coin looks like, bro.
Don't get offended if you own Clean Spark, please. or riot.
That's what meme coins look like. So I can't even, they're not even, sorry, but they're not in the same boat.
But do you think, again, the velocity of that going to 70 and coming back down, is that bad, or it's just?
It's not good. It's like, it just like, it is that you have to let it breathe. So it's the same boat. It's like a lot of these things are like, okay, they're at interesting levels, but just because it gets to the level doesn't mean that. I don't think this time is like the time where you think it's going to instantly reverse and go right back to all-time highs. I just don't. We've done a little bit more damage on a lot of these momentum stocks to think that right away.
Okay, do you like it at a 32 on the charts? Not even just on a fundamental, or 37, wherever is that?
Yeah, below 35s. I don't mind it. And like I don't think they're going bankrupt, but I just
from it. They're growing like crazy. I mean,
yeah, like so that's where I'm at. I don't think they're going bankrupt. I think they can sell the name brand stuff. They can sell the compounded stuff. They are growing like crazy. It's the cash flow thing right now. But if and then we were talking about like Hood and Coinbase, if that's all they're really known for, that also is a little bit of a problem. So they need to kind of like span out into other things aside from just GLP-1s. If that makes sense. You know, a little bit more of a moat. It's not a great defensive line of business.
Well, which I think they're doing, right? Where with the acquisitions they've made, I mean, like they're definitely expanding. And GLP is, I mean, they on the call, I listened to it yesterday, even though it was really boring. They said that's not the majority of the revenue at all for 2025. That's not part of the guide. So
yeah,
it was funny to see some of the sell side get upset today about it, when in reality, they're gonna have a good 2025 regardless of GLP or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think you have to just be like, okay, I can nibble. Honestly, $35 is literally where I bought it the other day. And it's like, you know.
All right, cool. Can we do, so let's do SOFI. And then for those that have tickers in the chat, you can put them. After SOFI, we'll do Jason's. He has a request from one of his members, but you guys can put tickers in the chats and we'll try to get
it's our member. Thank you very much. But anyways, the analyzer, if you're in the chat, then you have to type your ticker out and at Amit and at Jason. So $14 on SOFI is that level that we want to see. It's holding. Again, we talked about this. My problem is IWM, and the small cap sector has serious damage. So that has to turn around. NVIDIA is not going to save this per se, but this is where you want to see it hold. If it doesn't, and you do see the dips, you got to be ready to buy. So if it turns around immediately tomorrow, this is where we are. So this one, I think it's a little funky, right? So this is a daily perspective. I'm going to do the same thing I did with a couple of these other charts, and I think it's very similar, right? So, okay, above yesterday's low, which we did close above yesterday's low of 1381, it's not going down anymore. It wicked down below. We held this 14. I mean, it's 13 and change, but just barely. So you got this little, what we call like potential liquidity grab. I'm going to be a little concerned if it gets below that. But for now, moving forward, I want to see 14.27 hold. And then I want to see 14.58 hold. And then I think that we can be back on the up and up. But again, I'm a good bull. I want to know where the bears are going to be hanging out. And they're going to be hanging out just right about when you start to get excited that it could be recovering. They might come in and slap you. So just be really cautious, right? And this is what I mean. Where we are, the bears are going to get more aggressive the higher that we go, I think, if they're going to be still around. And so that could be around the $16 range. So this can bounce right here, right now, straight into the 16 bucks, but it's not out of the weeds, right? It's not out of the woods yet. If this is the box that I'm trading in, this is definitively the bottom of the box. This is where I want to be getting long, but I want to know, let's be real here. We're still firmly in the box. So if I get to the top, I gotta be realistic and not think that it's gonna actually go back up, but yet it could come back down, lock in a higher low, and then we can think about it. But this consolidation here is not horrible, right? Across the board. If it gets to like wicked out, this does look like it's in the sub 12s, which would be where we'd expect to see another little bout of consolidation. But until then, it's too early to call that. It's too early to call a breakdown necessarily here.
Okay, cool.
But I just want to be realistic. I like it. I like it.
I bought more
Still
today
long.
at 1380. I bought 100 shares today, so nothing crazy, but
You
I
did?
did buy a little bit more. Yeah.
So I'm saying you only bought 100 shares of Hood and you bought 100 shares. Would you just pick one?
Nibbling. Nibbling.
I bought 100 shares of something today.
Oh yeah. Do we? Is this on the list? The request TTD?
No, it's not. But I people don't request the things that I usually am like, oh, this looks good. Trade Desk actually could be the spot. I haven't owned this in years, but I think this is like absolutely shellacked. They did get some news today about like working with Netflix for the EMEA region. So like Europe. So we got the first like higher low on a daily count, meaning higher low is like, okay, so if this is the low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, oh, higher low. First day, higher low. That was it, right? Just worth the
If
shot.
there was any stock to bottom fish,
I mean, that's where I was. I was like, okay, there's news. I zoom out and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but I haven't owned it in a long time. I was like, you know what? Almost to your point. If there was anyone out there today, it was this. I mean, Google's not horrible. This was not on the list, but this is that Willow. This is that Willow kind of gap right here that I've been calling, guys. How long have I been telling everybody? How long have I been calling for 175 on Google? A fracking long time. And so it happened today. This is that Willow gap. I'm sorry, I'm just cleaning up my. This is how long I've charted. Here, it's not going to 120, but yeah. So we filled this Willow gap today. I think you start to watch this become more interesting on Google. But the requests were. Did he show up in the chat?
I don't think he did, but XYZ I know is definitely a request, so let's do that one. And then we'll do Amazon guys after that.
All right. So XYZ for sure. So I kind of went over this. It's not XYZ. This one got absolutely ravished. But
Steve likes this name, so he's sold on the story.
What's the story for Steve?
He just thinks it's cheap.
I mean, a lot of stocks are cheap.
That's his thesis. It's cheap. He doesn't even have a crypto thesis. He just thinks it's cheap. So
no, stop that.
No, I'm serious. He thinks it's cheap. Well, and I agree, it is cheap, but
cheap get cheaper. It is cheap. Okay, let's do this. This is interesting. I really don't do this very often. I can't really.
Hold on real quick. So they're saying Vlad's going to be on Cramer. I don't think it's going to happen at 6 p.m., guys. I think
you can watch it.
We can watch it together. It'll probably be like a 10-minute thing, but I think it'll happen at like 6:10, 6:15. So once it's on, I'll switch to it and we can all watch it. I don't think it's literally going to happen at 6 p.m. though. So when it's on, we'll switch over to it.
So did you see my post about like there's actual blueprints to the to some of these patterns? Did you see that?
No,
you don't watch my stuff, but like I did this thing the other day.
Oh, your Celsius drink post. That was a hell of a post. That was.
Hey, look, first of all, Celsius was on sale at 7-Eleven. It was buy two taquito rollers and get 1 Celsius drink.
You had a
for like,
taquito roller from
dude, I did. Dude, 2 taquito rollers and 1 Celsius for like $4.
That's why you're sick right now, dude. That's what's
I
happening.
mean, I couldn't not, but like there's real schematics, if you didn't know, for some of these like accumulation and distribution. These are 2 for distribution. I'm gonna pop on the chart here. This is 1 for accumulation. So this is really wild. So this is like 1910 blueprint schematic that I'm just looking at. I'm like, whoa, it's interesting for what accumulation looks like. I can definitely see like a creek in here. Oh man, this has got to go like way higher. So this is oddly matching, kind of. I think this gets into, man, if you see this hold in like 57s, it's more interesting. But this is the lows. I don't think you breach that 56 area, but right in here, I think it stops going down. This is 65. If you see it back over $65, which is where it shot down to today. I think it's post earnings.
Yeah, this is post earnings. Yeah. Okay, so you're saying it's kind of bottoming out here.
I think it's bottoming out, but it's $63 today. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot more downside. I have zero interest in shorting this. How's that?
Yeah.
And I would be more interested in like waiting for this to pop back up over essentially this shelf to say, okay, we could spring back up, which means that it needs to get back over 65. $65. This looks like it's worth the shot, but I don't want to take a shot at a potential falling knife before then, if that makes sense. So I would wait for it to be higher.
I.e., I'd buy hood over square any day of the week, essentially.
Oh, yeah. Well,
if we're talking about fintech, right? Like it's just
yeah. No, this actually went away from me in the 90s, right over here.
Okay,
but
can we do
the last one was Arista. So this was the one I did say I was going to go long. I actually don't hate it here at all. I haven't added to this. I haven't sold anything from an equity perspective. Sub 100 is what I've been waiting for. I think we're right in there. I don't think it's ready yet until this is over 90. I gotta say 97s. This is like, okay, go time. 97, 98s. But right now you gotta battle in here. I don't hate this at all. $90, dude. Arista. You like NVIDIA, you're gonna like Arista. This one actually might move tomorrow with NVIDIA. This goes hand in hand, side by side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna do some Max 7s, but I think we should get MicroStrategy and Bitcoin out of the way first, and then we'll do Max 7. So can we do MSTR Bitcoin for 5 minutes, and then we'll do Amazon and Meta?
You want to give them 5 minutes?
I mean, you could do 5 seconds. It's up to you. It's whatever you want to. It's your world. But Bitcoin, I am curious your thoughts on Bitcoin as well. I mean,
well, this is my chart of MSTR distribution. Yeah, no, this was. Where's that guy? Everybody calls him Jesse. I don't know. I didn't know his name was Jesse. Is his name Jesse?
You don't need to get into beef. It's okay. You don't need.
It's not beef. I just thought it was like he beefed at me. I don't even know who this guy is. I didn't know his name, but you guys remember I was like, this is not a long, or I put my thing out and these guys, he goes, you're going to get effing wrecked. And I'm like, who is this guy? But anyways,
he's very bullish Bitcoin. Let's just say that.
You can be bullish Bitcoin. It's 200, baby. It's what it is.
Dude, if this goes to 200, I mean,
I'm not buying it. Dude, I had some people that are like, oh, it's filled this gap. I think I saw on a stream if they filled this gap. So it's similar. It's like just because you fill a gap, This is what's Tesla. You filled the gap. It looks good, but you've extended the gap now. It no longer looks good. You're like, oh shit. So 200 is going to be the 200-day simple moving average also right there. That's 229 right now. I'm not really short this name, dude. So I'm not short this name. I got no position. I have no dog in this fight.
Let me ask you a question. So Saylor raises $2 billion on Thursday, buys $2 billion of Bitcoin at 97,000 on Friday. Is this the worst capital allocation we've ever seen from someone in finance?
I mean, no, because he's talking about his yield, right? So I don't really think he cares about what price he's buying it at. It's more like his yield.
But getting a price that is lower is better than not, right? Even for the yield.
You're talking about him and his buys, like.
Yeah, I mean, how do you raise $2 billion on Thursday and spend all of it? It's like a kid in a candy store that gets $20.
Dude, he's like me with Hood. Like, he just doesn't care. He gives 0 Fs because like
the difference is he's managing a $70 billion company. That's the difference.
That's how he's managing it.
I mean, you could say that as well, but I'm not even trying to critique him here. I'm just saying, like, he seems to not give a shit about the price, and I guess that's what's working for him.
Yeah. So if MSTR is trading at par, what is it? I would assume it's somewhere in the 170s, 160s.
Yeah. Well, the strike price on the convertible note is 430. So,
well, I mean, okay,
it's got to get a little higher.
Like $4.30.
No, not that.
430
on the new $2 billion he raised. MSTR in 5 years has to be above 430,
or else.
I don't know what "or else" means, dude. Some people say margin calls. Some people say I don't know. I don't know what happens.
That's sketchy.
He definitely, I think, gets a little bit more. He has to liquidate some of the Bitcoin if it doesn't get above the strike, from my understanding.
$430.
It was there in January.
Would you loan him some cash if he gave you those deals right now? So what? That's what I want. Like, or else what? Or else what happens?
Well, no, the bond holders are definitely getting their money back. That's for damn sure. That's how the deal is set up. That's why it's a 0% coupon, right? So the bondholders do want it to get above 430 because they'd rather get the stock.
And if it doesn't, then they just get their money back.
That's my understanding of it.
But then he has to sell.
Oh, he has to pay the money somehow.
Wow. He better stop buying Bitcoin and start buying MSTR. Fine.
Okay, so can we go to Bitcoin's chart then? And what are you thinking there?
No, I mean, look, it is a rough fall. Everything's had a rough fall. Let's be real. I'm not super bearish. I'm not super bullish. I like it. This looks like it could make a trajectory to $200. But again, just because it could make it just as easily to 150. So like, just because something gets to your level, it just means to watch right now. I think everybody's like kind of on edge. The only thing I stupidly bought, like without any shame, was Hood out of the gate, which turns out to be not so great anyways. All right, sorry. What was the last one?
Well, Bitcoin.
Oh, Biddy. So last week we said that was not a long and it was in the box and not to get over your skis, like definitive, like actually go back, rewatch it. And that was on the, did you timestamp it? And we were right here. I was like, no, we're in the box. It's not a long. And I think I said it might even be a short. And we've always been saying, and here's the thing, it's still somewhat in the box. This is how they get you. And this is what I'm actually really interested in. This is how they get you, man, is they make you think that they're going to break out of the bottom of the box. And then poof, it's right to the top of the box. And then you go along and then poof, it's right back to the bottom. So like, don't touch it. Just don't touch it right now is where I'm at on this. If you don't own it, you can nibble. But this is chop city, right? So if you short it, you just be really careful, go right back up. And if you wait for it to be clear, it might just poof right back down here. So like I could very easily see something like this happening. It's not a horrible place, very near term, to take a small shot. And if you get back over, this is that consolidation. What was this? This was not election. pump, right? It was something else.
Election pump was 70K, I think we were at.
Well, okay, so 70K was always been kind of like my level. 69, right? So 69 would be like a better buy. But the thing is here, we're firmly in Q2. No, we're in Q1. So Q2, I'm thinking, sorry, that's what I'm looking up. Q2, we usually top out at Q2. So if you get a dip, it's potentially buyable into the 70s. You can nibble here, is fine. I just don't know if it's like a high conviction anything. Yeah.
So are you bullish or bearish on Bitcoin?
Neutral. I'm more concerned about the alts right now, is that the alt season should have been popping off and we're not. And then you got the Ethereum hijack. It's
By
not
alts,
a hack.
you mean Solana, Ethereum, etc. Right?
Yeah. And the fact that we're not moving on the alts at all, we're coming in the summer months, and that's just like, summer is no good for crypto usually. But
Cool.
but so what I would say is, so BTC.D is my new Bitcoin dominance chart. It's not horrible. This is like Bitcoin dominance against all alts.
More dominance is bullish or bearish?
More dominance is more bullish for Bitcoin, bearish for the alts. It looks like she's chopping right now too. I had a nice little pop and then kind of pulled back. I know this is a hard call, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Ethereum right back to 25s. Right, 22K was like that last dip buy. It's not horrible. I don't mind buying a little Bitcoin here at all, but a little, not like a whole thing. I kind of, just like when we were up here and I was like, oh, it's not a long, I'd rather be short. Down here, I'm like, I'd rather be long Bitcoin than short it. Believe it or not. I don't know if that means I'm long. I would want to be long MSTR though.
Right. Okay.
We could get another flash crash over the weekend. I would definitely buy the next one.
Can we do Amazon? We'll
Spencer's in the house, dude. Look at that.
Yes, she is, or he is.
Yeah, I didn't say anything, dude.
Amazon had a nice recovery during the day, actually. I thought that was.
Oh, Amazon had a nasty recovery during the day. So we're $200 is kind of like that breakout. It's 199s and change, right? From right over here. You got the big breakout. You're coming in hot to a retest. And that's what you wanted to see, kind of like this 210 reclaim. I think this is fine. I actually think that you can. So of the Mag 7, I like this here now. But again, every trade that you get into here, the thing is, like, it could be good, but it could still go lower. So Amazon, I would venture to say you see at least 216.50. But this is what I'm saying. So you see 216.50. Great. Then what? Then you got to, like, from a trading perspective. So this is how the traders are right now. Traders are like, oh, I sniped the lows, but at 216.50, I got to close my whole trade, right? Because I could get smacked again. So you're in this kind of area. It's a violent move and an equally violent upside. I don't even know why this had, like, probably the strongest recovery intraday. I have no idea. I don't know if there was a headline or anything like that. But from a daily perspective, this becomes a very neutral to bullish candle with this big, we call this a hammer candle, big old wick to the downside. This is Amazon. And, I always tell the guys, like, Amazon always gives you an opportunity. Like, it just for whatever reason does, right? It always gives you this random opportunity to buy, and then it completely turns around. So It's
All right, I'm going to stop you here. We got
it's out of the weeds when it's over
Vladdy.
1630.
216.30. That's the okay.
Yeah, it's all clear.
All right, we got Vladdy on Cramer.
Oh, let's go.
About these guys. If not stunned about where this company has come from and where I think it can go to. I think it's got a long-term approach and understands the younger generations that stand to inherit between $84 and $86 trillion over time. So let's take a close look with Vlad Tanem. He's the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Robinhood Markets. Mr. Tanem, welcome back to Mad Money.
It's always glad. I'm glad to be back here.
All right. Well, first I want to congratulate you. There have been tough times. You went right through them. You are have created a beloved institution. And I know you're even speaking to regular Robinhood investors because that's what you do. But just tell us about the journey, because it wasn't all done in fair weather.
Yeah, it's been hard, you know, and I feel like we've gone through the cycle multiple times. You know, you talked to me and Beju when we were getting started, before we had 1 million customers. And then I remember we came on your show when we had 10 million customers. Back then, everyone was kind of rooting for us, and then we went through a period where, you know, we had the inevitable sort of like negative attention. We did some things that we learned from, and then things have become more positive. But now I feel like a grizzled veteran. You know, I got my beard.
You should feel that way.
Being public for a while. Robinhood's more than 10 years old, so I have the perspective and hopefully the wisdom of someone that's gone through ups and downs. So, you know, I wish the stock would go up every day.
Right. Well,
I'm sure we all do, but I think with over the long term, we've done very well, and we're just at the beginning.
You sure have. Now, Vlad, one thing I have to tell you, when I meet young investors, and I speak to a great number of them, I am always saying, why are you always with Robinhood? And they always say, because it's easy. Now, easy actually means that you're designed in a way that is intuitive. You have a terrific site. You have multiple sites. You seem to be have an engineer's approach to this, and it works.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm a former engineer, mathematician. We got into this business through algorithmic trading, which is interesting. Now we're in the NYSE, right? And algorithmic trading disrupted institutional. And really what Robinhood did was we brought that technology to retail in the form of zero commissions and great technology. And I think that's still what's the ethos of the company, using technology and engineering to apply that to financial services.
And people have stuck with you. Yes, sure, there was the turmoil when we think about GameStop, whatever. But you've now got people who've been with you for some time, and you're even getting to the point where you're doing terrific deals on RIAs and IRAs. You bought an outfit, Trade PMR. That would have been something that 10 years ago I never would have thought you would have done.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term goal is for us to be the place where any customer globally can buy, sell, or hold any financial asset or conduct any financial transaction. So we started with trading, but you mentioned there's 84 to 86 trillion being handed down to younger generations. We think we can be the place where that wealth goes. And I don't think anyone's actually seriously tackling this problem with technology.
No, just you. And I've seen your site. Obviously, everyone wants to show me the site, what you're doing. I mean, just for futures, which are so hard to actually visualize. You found a way to visualize trading in futures.
Yeah, I think that futures just launched a couple months ago. It's already, you know, a business that is growing quite nicely. Index options as well launched. That's at, you know, 15 million, north of 15 million run
Your
rate.
dashboard is
Robinhood Legend.
It's incredible because again, it's intuitive. And is that you just have engineers who know how to visualize what people want? They come to you, like you met with individuals today. What do they want?
Yeah. I think it's a combination of having a few different types of people. People that are industry experts like Steve Quirk, JB McKenzie, who really understand the active trader, large part because they're active traders themselves. So they really, really care about these products and are passionate about it themselves. And amazing product managers, engineers, folks on the legal and compliance side, product designers. I think we have really the best at every position. So
now, speaking of legal compliance, well, SEC investigation closed, move on, right?
Yeah, I think that it's nice to not have to play as much defense. I mean, frankly, in the last administration, we're playing a lot of defense. There was an all-out assault on not just crypto, but individual retail trading in general with market structure proposals, predictive data analytics, which is basically an assault on AI and financial services. So now, we're fortunate to have, an administration that wants the U.S. to be number one in AI and financial services and crypto.
How far can you stretch it, though, Vlad? I mean, prediction markets, elections, sports gambling, there's great synergy, okay? And by the way, since they've legalized gambling, I like to talk about DFS, daily fantasy, because it's portfolio management. But how far can you really go before the government says, wait, that's too far?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. We're a markets company. Robinhood Markets it's in our name, and I believe in prediction markets. I think prediction markets are the future of trading. They're also the future of information. So I think there's certain differences between doing that even in sports and like traditional sports books. For example, there's no line being set by the platform. Buyers and sellers are meeting, so there's price discovery. And that is actually what gives you a signal into what the actual probabilities of these events occurring are. So I think that prediction markets are going to be a bigger and bigger thing across all events. And, of course, there's lots of market participants. There's people that speculate. There's folks that are using it to hedge, like any market. And I think Robinhood can serve all of them.
I was concerned and told you that, wow, so many people do options and so much do crypto. I'm afraid that there isn't staying power, but that was wrong. There is tremendous staying power, and there's big institutions now that use some of your option product.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, and we've made a lot of advances on options. We rolled out index options, which, as you probably know, has been one of the fastest growing sectors. If you want to, make a trade and take advantage of movements across an entire market or sector, index options and futures allow you to do that. And I think our take on it is customers, we want to be number one in the active trader market. Customers want to trade these products. Institutions obviously use them. And we think by and large, any assets that's available to institutions should have a path for retail to use it as well. But again, not everyone is a speculator and not everyone wants to actively trade options. Those that do, we should have a path to allow them to do it. But of course, we have suitability checks, all sorts of requirements they have to go through to become an options trader.
Everybody wants 3% match on their IRA.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what we're incentivizing as a platform, what's the thing that we're incentivizing to come over? It's the retirement accounts. And that's been a very successful product. So we'll actually give you a 3% match on contributions on retirement and gold accounts. And, we've done several matches, including one where if you bring over a whole account, you get 2% on your retirement.
So you're telling me if I have, let's say, a lot of stocks and money in an IRA somewhere else, and I bring it over to you, I can actually get 2% return on that money for doing nothing other than opening an account with you.
If you have, $10 million, that's 200,000 in match.
You can afford that?
Well, yeah, what we've seen is we measure, obviously, this is part of being an engineering company. We measure the ROI of these matches, and we've ran lots of them over time. Some of them work out for us, some of them don't, but the ones that don't, we've stopped doing, and the ones that do, we keep doing over and over again.
You have a card, the Robinhood, the gold card.
Yeah.
It has many advantages. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so two things. Best rewards on the market, 3% cash back on all categories, and the best user experience. And I've showed it to you. You've seen it.
Yeah.
You can create virtual cards, which allow you to, it's great for security if you don't want to share your card number. Also, if you want to have a different card for restaurant reservation, for free trials, it gives you the power to do that. And it's our first product built for the whole family. I think that's going to be a bigger thing for us going forward. Like products that become better, the more family members you put on it. Like, why is it worse for you when you have your family on using the same brokerage? It's certainly not better, but I think that's a big part of this multi-generational opportunity. If Robinhood can become better for you, if your kids are on it, your spouse is on it, your parents, then, when there is an inheritance event, it's the natural choice.
Absolutely.
Right now, 70% of people fire their parents' advisor and move on to a new platform. So I think there's a huge opportunity. I think a lot of the incumbents have been sleeping on it, frankly.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm so proud of you. I know that I remember when you started, and it was something that I said, geez, maybe this is going to get a lot of people in and democratize. And you know what? You've succeeded more than anyone else I have met in my life in democratizing stocks. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You started it all in popularizing this, and we're. I think we've got a long way to go. We've got to do it all over the world, and of course, Robinhood itself is going to expand from retail to business and institutional.
Not worried. I think you'll do it. Not worried at all. That's Vlad Tenev, co-founder, chairman, CEO of Robinhood. Glad to be with him the whole darn way. Mad Money's back at the.
All right, cool. Stock's up. I think people are saying this is bearish because it's with Cramer. I think it's the opposite. I think Vlad is so bullish on their execution. He thinks not even Cramer can stop them.
Not even Cramer can stop them.
Up 3%.
I like Brian's comments. Thanks, Dad. Proud of me.
Yeah, we're up 3%. Not bad, dude. I think it's kind of like Palantir, dude. Palantir. I mean, Cramer's never affected Palantir or Hood because those two companies I think are
Check this out. This is the new baby clothing line. There's a Tony just dropped off. Baby clothes. You got a kid, you got to make a new clothing line so that you can put him in his new fits.
You got to get the Paper Gains logos on the baby clothes.
It's not paper. No, this is bamboo.
No, but you got to do that too. You got to do that. All right, cool. So that was Vlad. I guess we'll move on to Meta as we ended out Amazon.
We said 650s, I think it was six somethings. It's there. It is there. It is also there. It's very interesting, man.
740 to 650, dude.
But yeah, but that is what we said. It got really close. So this is, dude, it's all like this, right? So like it's close, and I think that you could take a stab at all of it, and I think you probably should. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that's nasty. That's wildly precise. I mean, that looks like a very good pullback. It's a very good pullback on Meta right here. 630 something.
It's basically where it was at the day.
I didn't sell any of this, but
would you buy it here? 650?
That's interesting. Over 662, I would. From a trading perspective. If it's over 662, I think it's going all the way back. This doesn't have a lot of damage. Percentage wise, this is it's probably up to 10. Percentage wise, if this is it, that's as much as you want, really.
I mean, it's the only Mag 7 that's held up the whole year, and now it's finally breaking, which still it's up 10%. Even.
What do you mean breaking?
I mean, breaking from the highs. It's still up a decent amount year to date.
Honey, what are you talking about? This is still a higher low. This ain't breaking until it's like below, like way in below, like deep underneath sixes.
Oh, it's not 740 anymore.
No, it's not 740.
It's not.
It might be tomorrow.
700. Like,
I mean, but yeah, no, this is, I got a weekly chart. It's not bearish. I think all of this means that we have some consolidation to come, right? Even these are the last lows, like right in here. Like these are the last local lows, which, I mean, 600s, that's where it is. We didn't even get there, but we got to the very top of this. So while there's still potentially more to go, that's what I mean. It's like, it's all like right there. It could come down further. It can. It could come down like into sixes, which would be a very full retest. But everything's just so close, man. It's just so close. It's right on the 50-day simple. It's all just like right there. I think this is going to come down to NVIDIA, man. NVIDIA. Okay, so three things. It's going to come down to NVIDIA and PCE on Friday. Man, why can't they just make it all easy, right? Just buy it the dip. NVIDIA, PCE on Friday, and then NFP early March.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are going to affect all the Max 7. Meta
Is
was
that-
at 642 today. Yeah.
Dude, Warren just threw me off right now. Whatever that super chat was, I'm like, that's hardcore.
Yeah, Warren, I responded in the comments, but I think SMCI, if Nvidia crushes, can get back above 65.
I only think in dollars, but that's not dollars, right?
No, there's $200 basically. It's Taiwanese.
Oh, nice. How do you does it give you the translation right away?
No, I'm just smart.
You are so smart. So smart. So I had this level. So 56 it's right there. If it gets there, it's good. I mean, this is Steve's target, right? 70s.
Steve wants 75 to 80 for him to be happy.
Okay, so specifically, it's yeah. So this is where that's coming from. It comes from this $74. And this was that last kind of like base, right? So what we talked about before, where that last distribution area was, that's $74.68 right in here. You can get a little bit higher up to 80. And so I think this is exactly his box, right? Right in there. I just, does it hold there for that long? You were really close just a little bit ago. I'm going to do something too. Let's say we go from here to here.
You going to buy some tomorrow in the morning before NVIDIA earnings?
No, I took my trade and I feel like I got most of it back already. I don't want to overstay my welcome. Plus I had to buy some hoodie. Yeah, 86 is, C might be off by just a tad. Maximum velocity, 86.24.
All right, cool. We got a bunch of other stocks. Let's try to get through them.
Maximum. But I'd be in very small position at that point.
All right, so I'm going to have, Jason, I'm going to try to have you on like 2 minutes on each of these stocks because we got a bunch of them and then we can get out of here. Nubank. Chris is buying this one heavy right now too.
Okay, well, all the way back. I mean, this is where it was before, $10. I think dollar coming down should be more of a tailwind for these guys, right? Like they should be better. Yes. I don't know why it's not. I think it's just earnings thing. Yeah, it might just be knee jerky. It's fine. It's a good spot, but it's probably going to hold. Where does it go? Probably a 13s. It has to go to 13s. And if it doesn't go over 13s, then well, you're either going to turn a trade into an investment or get shellacked because you don't want this under 10.
Okay, grab.
Grab. What are we doing?
I'm buying more. My conviction has only gone in deeper and deeper and deeper on this one.
Let's see.
I think we hold 460 for the foreseeable future. I think my personal TAs, if we break below like 440, that's really bearish.
Does anybody notice that Amit's been doing a lot more TA too, by the way?
Personally, I don't think I'm ready to publicly do it as well as you are, but by myself, I've been trying to analyze it.
Why 440? Well,
so from my understanding, there's a double bottom at 467. And I believe there's a volume gap at 440. I could be wrong on exactly the levels, but that's
467.
465, 467, around that range.
Oh, so okay. So this is past. So he's talking about this right here. Right?
Yeah.
And then you're drawing it across. You could draw it further across this way. I like that as a center line. And probably where your point of control is the biggest, and I don't know bearish. So how bearish is this 430s? So this is really the box that it's trying to get into. So I think to your point, from an investing perspective, is that if you have another down day, that's fine. Actually, you don't want to see it below 430.
Correct.
I think that's where you really need to start questioning your life choices. But near term, like it could just be a nightmare, right? Like it could be very quick and dirty. You have a 200-day around 4s, but again, at that point, 4 to 430, what's the real situation there?
And the other thing about it is the toots have loaded up the most they've ever loaded up in Q4. Now we're at 75% institutional holdings, and 4 to 6 was heavy sell pressure in 2022. So I think it's going to be really tough to break out of it. But once we break out of it, I think we have a very clear runway. But it might take a couple of earnings to definitively break through 6. But I'm buying more, dude. I have a lot of options. I want to get a lot of shares now at this point. Like my conviction on this is very, very solid. And I'm not expecting $10 in 2 months. The other thing is all the analysts upgraded this thing after the earnings, and the stock has been in a crappy sort of run after earnings. I also think the macro has been bad. But to me, that's like you buy when the stock does bad after a good earnings, which I thought this was a good earnings.
Yeah. I think that's what you want to see. Like you want to see this general area hold like in here. And yeah, so your 63s. I don't know that I would hang on to that specific price point so much, because like you could just take the low of this wick straight across and say 456 and take that down. And this looks a little bit better. And for you, this is hopium, but I'll give it to you. If you wanted to see this, hopium.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
That's more along the lines with what you want to see. So to that end, like that's what you're going to be watching for. Now, how does that evolve as a chart perspective? You could actually see another down day like that with like a big
It could essentially be a big wick down.
Yeah, so you could have a big wick. What happened? Why is my drawing not working? You'd have a big wick like that kind of tags these lows in here. Like that's all possible. So there'll be your 1, 2, 3 day down. Big day like that. And then that candle is where you want to see start to hold. So I could expect something like this. So you might have another dip buy, which would be decent. And you'd want that. You basically want another day. You think about it like this. You want a day that opens red and closes green or near flat. And that's why today is so constructive for a lot of things, but it's not like it's out of the woods. So like SPY opened red, swept the lows to close towards the highs, like Amazon, and you end up with a big candle like this, where like it might even be green, but like we have like a hammer candle, right? You want to see from here, you want to see continuation, right? This is just like, okay, good to know, because we might be getting exhaustion from a downside perspective. Like the downside might be getting exhausted, but I want to see next continuation moving forward.
Okay, can we do Celsius?
Alex is talking about Miss Cleo. Yeah. Wait, no, we already went over Celsius.
No, we didn't. We stopped it for. Did we? Oh yeah, we stopped it. Yeah.
We looked at it and it was over here, and we said, "Cool."
Okay.
No, he goes, "Okay, you guys, I got it." He's like, "What is this guy doing?" I mean, they gave it all back. They gave it all back. So there's not like it was. We covered it even during the quarter. It was like, okay, double beat, Alani, something. You still need to have something to look forward to. The market just is not kind right now, but you can't be surprised either because this chart was not looking great. It's cool. I mean, hopefully you took some profit after hours, maybe. But yeah, it's basically, I mean, you're all the way back. You're at like $1
above
to go before it's like fully back. This is what's crazy. Like you're like, oh, this is like 30, dude, 60% from low to high on the actual after hours price action. But at the end, and it's like $13, but the thing is still down like 99%. So I still hold firm of like, it needs to be like over this $36 right here. And honestly, I say like the bears are still there. The bears are still alive at $36. So again, if you want to be a bull, that's fine. But this is why we say a good bull always knows where the bears are hanging out. It's $36.
Okay.
This market looks fast.
Can we do VRT and VST?
Yeah. So I like VST a little bit more. So these are DeepSeek kind of names. VRT, oh, it needed to hold this, did not. Yo, dude. It's not pretty. What is Nancy's call options on this? What strike does she have?
I think it's like 150.
Oh, it might be 50s.
Yeah.
$50 calls.
Yeah. $50 calls. Google is 150. Yeah.
I mean, that's not what you wanted to see. This is like right where I bought it last. It had a good recovery today. This is an interesting one. Again, it's one of those days where here's your closing day. This is like what I just described to grab, like what you want, what you could see next for grab is a day just like today, where you open slightly red, and what we say is we sweep the lows, and then we close on the highs, right? That's usually that type of closing, that type of day usually shows up at the bottom of a trend line or the bottom of a trend. When you could reverse it if it's top of the trend. But 141 is where you're out of the woods. 139 is where it's probably not going down anymore. But if this is over 141, I mean, they report on Thursday, so it's probably going to go up. But then all of a sudden, boom, you're going to be right into earnings, and it's going to be a show me story. So it's VST. VRT, data center cooling.
Yeah.
Worse. So I hope this is not a preview for VST, because here's your DeepSeek dive right there. You've breached the lows. Actually, boom. This was one of the slower ones to recover too. So you got about a halfway bounce, and then you've actually broken through those post earnings, which were not great, which looks like a Arista and Astera kind of reaction. And that's kind of where I'm at. So like Astera, ALAB is another one slapped on DeepSeek, had good earnings, like great earnings, but again, all similar. So that's where I would be concerned about VST, is that if it does have earnings so far between Arista, right? DeepSeek dive 97 has since breached the low, amazing earnings, breached the lows. Same thing. But these guys are, what they're not doing, and this is where I get for NVIDIA, what these guys are not doing as they've been reporting is that they haven't been raising guidance. And that's what's like the street's not really loving right now. So VRT, I don't think you could do VST right now because of earnings on Thursday, but I would potentially look at VRT, Arista, and Astera as precursors of what might come if you get a little bit of a pop. And if they don't have huge raises, you could be right back to the lows.
Okay, can we do Archer? ACHR.
This was the level, right?
Yeah, this one's down about 30% from the highs.
Would you rather Archer or Hood?
I mean,
I don't know.
dude, that's kind of obvious like, to me.
Is
Like,
it?
yeah, very obvious.
When are we gonna buy this thing?
I don't like that there's no earnings. It's just a story.
You mean you don't like story stocks?
I do, but you got to have some numbers, bro. There's nothing to this. Like,
yeah. So,
especially in this environment, like, I don't know if stories are enough.
well, that's the thing is like if the safety trade starts to turn around, then maybe story stocks eventually get another bid. Just a phrase, but I wouldn't want to be short this right here.
Archer's not a shit co. That's the thing. It's not a shit company at all. It's just they're very young in their journey.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I
don't know.
I don't think they're a shit co, but I do think if you were gonna have conviction, you would have conviction at these levels. But are there other opportunities in the market that are a little bit easier to sleep at night with versus Archer?
I think you can take a shot here, but you have to have a very tight stop at $7, or just don't put a stop at $7. By the way, they're just gonna take your stop out. But they have earnings coming Thursday. Again, another Thursday earnings. But like a lot of these, their local lows, soft support, medium term support, they could breach it, and then it's a show me story, like real quickly.
Yeah,
because they have earnings coming. But again, I guess if they don't have real earnings, then like I guess my question is like, what did they say here to make this happen? What happened?
Well,
what was this?
The 3 to 10 run. I mean, I think that was just Trump winning, everything pumped.
The market. Well, I mean, it was post earnings.
There was an Anduril deal. I think that also helped.
Yeah, I mean, if they can talk about new deals coming up and like there's like stuff to get excited about, we'll see.
Can we do Nike?
Staff pilots. Oh man. I'm scared to look at Nike because I'm like, I want to take some profits, but then I don't, because it's doing good, it's doing fine. It's not great, but it's not bad, not bad. It's got a lot of room, dude. So I'm gonna flip on my simple moving averages just for a minute. They have earnings coming. So what you're seeing right now, I can say definitively, this is beginnings of a March pre-earnings move. So this is where they were essentially before we bottomed out. I think this is a good buy. I don't really want to sell it, but I'm like, well, it's green. So I'm like, and I want more money to buy it. I'm gonna stop talking about HUD. I think you're okay. You're just now today, first day in a long time, actually over the 200-day simple moving average, which is a huge win. Remember when we're talking about SMAs and we're looking down here, the distance between them is now going to start to actually expand, right? So like they're really tight. So as the further they get away from each other, I think this can begin to gain momentum. This is not bad at all. I think you see close to 90s very soon. I mean, like, this is tradable, for real tradable. This looks very good, dude. Just, it is what it is. Near term. Let me take the shenanigans off. Yeah, I think you're close to actually being out of the weeds.
Okay. Can we do Rivian?
So 1180. If I say, look at this, look, Nike. Boom. Are you doing the timestamp thing right now?
Yeah.
Oh man. Sorry, did I mess up the Rivian one?
Jason found out how to do timestamps yesterday. And
Guys, it's so much work. It's crazy. I had to go back into the video after the fact.
I just do it in real time. And he's like,
no, I couldn't. Well, I'm doing it and I was trying to do it on myself in real time. It's very difficult. This was my entry zones. I think you could. I took a shot really quick just to nibs. It's down to $10, but I think if you believe, you don't have to be a fan of RJ, because God knows Amit's not. But if you believe at all that they might be profitable, so they actually, dude, so they were net gross profitable, right?
Yes.
But not net profitable.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think as you get close into this area, you start to start the nibble machine. 1080, I like quite a bit. 1180, I nibbled. Was it 1180? I think it was 1180. Yeah. I like it. 1080, man. I just remember it's always been $10.80.
Okay. Can we do App 11, APP? This one took a beating over the past couple days.
Holy moly. Holy.
I still have no idea what they do, but
I think they're advertising, right?
Okay, I guess they're advertising.
I guess that's why TTT was down, right? Because they ate their lunch.
But App ran off of really good earnings, and then they kind of just got hit. Like,
you want to see this? You want to see this base out for a bit? So you've again another good earnings, but pulled the whole thing back. If you buy right away, you might get stuck in a like me with the too early buy on Robinhood. So just maybe breathe for a second and let this chill out. It's probably similar to Reddit. Have we done your Reddit yet?
No.
I would let that breathe and watch for some consolidation. Reddit's very similar, where you've I mean, did you get your annulment, or are you still engaged?
I still have the covered call on it.
Okay.
But
It's
I don't
just
know.
you're official. You're not actually engaged.
I mean, there could be more pain, and I could get more juice out of the call, I think.
Is it covering the losses?
Yeah. There is no losses. I mean, it's at my average, 165.
That actually was your buy, yeah.
Yeah, my buy, 165. Yeah.
Yeah, I think same thing. So you're there. I think it's like you wait for that same kind of like daily candle setup. It's similar, right? So but here's what you don't want to see the following day. So if this is a good example, is it okay if I stop here for just 2 seconds for a technical teachable moment? So here was that day that I'm looking at. Like, we saw a day like this across the board for a lot of the indices. What I was saying that we want to see is, you want to see at this point, you want to see get fully above today's high, then you're going higher. But you don't really want to see it get much below here. Oh, sorry, that's not a stop. That would be more like a, we would just be cautious. But if it goes below today's low, oh, look, it's going to go lower. So this becomes, from a day-to-day perspective, your kind of levels, right? If it gets higher, you could say, okay, unfortunately, right now you need to know that 170 could be a what's the word? A profit target near term. This is how that day looks intraday. So you're closing, and then I'm just going to play this forward. I have no idea what it's going to look like as this plays out, but I want to use this as an example, because this is what a lot of stocks look like today, and it didn't fully go through. So we get into the pre-market. Yeah, so here's where we are today. So you're still kind of right below 161. That's where I said I needed it to actually hold above just 2 seconds earlier. I didn't know it was closing there. And here's where we are. So it's not ready, right? I don't want to see this fully fail, because this is going to be an attempt. This little wick, I know it's tiny, but when you become a trader, you start to learn, not an investor. When you become a trader, you start to recognize these little things where there's an attempt to go higher, but that attempt fails. And sometimes when they fail like this, they fail in spectacular fashion and go all the way back to the lows. And your day traders know that, and your day traders will take advantage of exactly this situation. And they were waiting. Those are the bears waiting to pounce, and they short all the way back to the lows, and then they cover, and you're on, and you do it the next day. So like if you have the same thing that happens tomorrow, but it's this midline, that's what you could see. What you have to see moving forward, you have to see like that full open and close above, like all the way up. And then you have to also see a continuation the following day. So while things are at our levels, be patient, because this is not ready yet. It attempted to, but it's not.
Okay, last couple that we're gonna try to get out, and then we'll be done. So like 5 more. Fubo. I know you don't
like the penny
love
stocks,
it, but
you see my face.
got to give the people what they want, right? I mean,
just wait, do nothing. If you take a trade on this right now, you are anticipating. I'm not into guessing. You are a gambler unless you have some kind of fundamental logic here. This is a straight up YOLO. You have no idea what's going to happen. Freaking gamble. You're definitively in the box. It could go up. It could go down. I have no idea. That's what this is. There's zero signal. But eventually, once this comes out of a box, if this was a real stock, not that it's not a real stock, but if it was like a larger cap stock and you could see some kind of movement like this, that is more like what you'd want to see. But because it's right in the middle, you could easily see this. And the problem with this right now is that you got earnings on the 28th. This is not going to go anywhere. Decisively sideways, no trade.
Shopify, which is held up pretty well.
$100. I bought this at $100. You actually got your earnings back. I haven't bought any more. It is what it is. I bought it right here. That was based on this. And I think we're okay. It's just like, again, it's slow going, trudging along. I actually am not really put off by this at all. I think if you don't own Shopify, it's probably not a horrible spot to take a little nibble. You do have some downside risk, but yeah, we'd want to see the market start to rebound. Again, same exact setup as everything else. I want to be repetitive, but here we are. Big red day. Neutral day, closing inside of yesterday's range. When I say that, here's yesterday's candle. The close of the day. Most of today's trading was inside of yesterday's range. So we open again, sweep the lows, close neutral. It's a neutral day. So we had to wait, see what happens next.
Okay, Clean Spark.
It's a short.
It's a short. Okay.
I was looking, don't they have, I think these guys came up with the 25-cent strikes.
Did they?
No, I'm joking.
I was like, wow, that's pretty bad.
Are those your $353 strikes?
Dude, I've got like 10,000 of them.
I don't understand actually somebody bought 1,750 puts for Jan 2026 today.
Bought or sold?
They might have sold them.
Jan 2026? Yeah, that makes sense. 750.
I'll tell you. I'll see if I can't tell. Oh, somebody was rapid fire buying September 25th $4 puts though. Buy in 300 lot sizes and more.
Well, I think if you believe Bitcoin round trips to 60K, CleanSpark's going back to like $3. If not, then
$3. Yeah, somebody bought a bunch of those September $4 puts. Oh, look at them. Dude, so September $4 puts, 6,500 volume today. Those are purchases.
Do you like the chart at all or no?
No.
Okay.
No, this looks like a short. This is decisively bearish, actually.
Why?
So if I just take this line straight across, she's losing it. She's losing it right here. And this whole cohort of buyers gave up. They gave up on her right here. It's $8. So any lower, and yeah, you fill in some imbalances down to these. There it is, down to $4. So that's where they're getting $4 from. There's a 6,500 September $4 puts purchased.
And I would say you're skeptical of it going up if Bitcoin goes up because it hasn't done that for the past year, essentially.
No, I would just be skeptical of it going up in general because I don't really think, dude, I think that the markets, did you change your angle?
No, the camera died. So I changed the camera.
Oh, I think that the markets are catching on. That the Bitcoin proxies just don't have the flair like the.
Yeah.
I honestly I feel like that might be happening because like all the crypto proxies they're not doing the deal.
Yeah.
So people might be switching.
All right, last couple. Affirm.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Affirm $60. This I believe close it down like 30% again. I might be 25% after a great quarter again, dude. Look at that, dude. Is that real? Was that actually a 250% beat and raise?
Yeah, they're profitable now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is just a market sentiment. I might be. So this chart is not bearish. It's really not bearish. It's not bearish from a very long-term perspective either. Like here's the weekly, and here's the from inception chart. I'm just saying this is a very classic reversal. This is really not bearish. It's just a wild trader. Would you rather Affirm or SoFi? Chat. Would you rather Affirm or SoFi? That's a real question.
Okay. I know more about SoFi, but low key, I'd pick Affirm, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I like Max Levchin better than
nobody. Tell Tanner.
We
got a lot of SoFi.
I think Tanner might pick Affirm over SoFi. You never know.
No, really? Bring SoFi.
Affirm innovates. Like,
can you put a poll out and tag Tanner on Twitter, on X?
Yeah, well, he's not going to publicly say that. He's got to have to message me in the DMs. Like, you know what? No, you'd probably pick SoFi, but I would probably end up buying SoFi because I know more about SoFi. But Affirm is like a legit fintech.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think this is a buy, dude. Is it a buy right now? I think one more red day. If we see like close to 55 or sub 60, am I being greedy?
They've also managed risk really well in 2022. I mean, they had no underwriting issues. Like Max, he gets it. I mean, he's from PayPal, right? Like he really understands it.
No, he's not just. He's part of the original PayPal mafia.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like,
oh, so like 53s is good. I'm gonna have to do it if I see sub 56s.
I would join you there. I would join you.
Right in this box.
Like 55 below.
Yeah. So what I'm doing, I'm just gonna take this prevailing uptrend. This is from 2024 uptrend. And I'm gonna grab this low right here. So what I mean by one more red day, if I get the red day here and I see it, and this day I would really like to be just like that, just like those other days we were just talking about, where if it's a big red candle, yet in the middle of my candle, I have like a giant white wick. Not that you're really gonna know, right? But yeah, if I can get a day like this, maybe even like intraday if I'm looking at it, because I won't be staring at this. Or if this ends up being a weekly.
No.
Yeah. So maybe not this week. Sometime between now and March, though, I think this is worth a shot. So that's what I would like to see from a weekly perspective next week, not this week.
All right.
Watch. Okay.
Last two. Uber.
I sold it. I'm out. By the way, guys, that was a great trade. Did you know that? Those March debit spreads.
When did you sell? Yesterday?
No, dude, I sold at $80. We laid this entire trade out. And I said it goes from 60 to 80, but you must be ready to sell because this is in the box. So 60 to 80 sold, baby. Sold. The debit spread open for like about
how much did you make on the spread? Like 300%, 200%?
I gotta go back in the percentage was but they were sold for like $7 or $8. Open for $1.30.
Oh, wow. It's like a 5x.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It was
Not
good.
bad. Not bad.
I was happy.
So you're out because of the it was part of your trade in the Tesla
It
narrative.
was part of the plan, the whole plan. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of choppy after the earnings because like the day of the earnings. So this was the earnings. They were good. They were a double here, and then poof, they actually went back negative for like a 30-minute flash, and then or for like that one day. And I was just like, whatever, because I trimmed already up here as per the plan. So we opened them here, and then I trimmed here and a little bit here, and then here they went negative, but I held, and I went, we'll see what happens. And then the very next day they were bright green, and right here I was hitting full targets, $80, which I said, boom, $80 because you got to sell. So maybe we can short it now, dude.
I'm not shorting Uber.
Let's do that. Why not?
I like Uber. I don't.
I mean, you don't have to like Uber.
I'm just saying their narrative is screwed, but I don't think it's a short.
It's a short from a trading perspective. It is not a long. So I'm sorry, you guys, because you go back to this. You're still in the box. You're firmly in the box. You're at the top of the box now. This looks like Bitcoin at 99K. You could be quick and dirty. Whoosh, back to the 60s. And then it's a buy again because it's just sideways. This is why you and the investors like hate talking to traders like me because you're like, dude, you flip flop so much. You're like, dude, I'm not married. Anyways,
well, you are married now.
I'm engaged. Thank you. I'm walking down the aisle.
Okay, this is the actual final two. So AMD, and then I'll give you the last one.
Wheel, yeah, you could wheel that. I don't know if you need to wheel it though, Walter, because the wheel's not going to be that profitable on Uber versus actually taking the trade. But if you don't have a lot of time to manage stuff, no. Just is this was your chart? Was this it? Was this the question?
AMD, yeah.
Yeah, just say no.
Yeah, this has been a disaster, dude.
Because it's a disaster.
So, and everyone is convinced like it'll recover, which I think it will, but I think it's going to take longer than people think. Like, I just rather buy NVIDIA. Even with the NVIDIA fears that there's plenty of bear cases on NVIDIA, but
I just have to ask. It's the same thing. It's like, look, if I'm trading large fund, like you want to be a professional trader, you're going to have a risk manager over your shoulder, right? And so play risk manager for yourself. The risk manager is going to ask you what part of this chart is bullish, and you're going to have to justify to them why you want to go long, and you're going to look like it.
You're gonna have to say, wait a second, and are you flipping my flapjacks? It's like it's gonna be green. Like, give it a couple of years.
What you're gonna say is like close to $100 psych level. You're gonna be like, it's down 50%, and they're gonna be like, dude, but none of that is confirmation of anything. All that is super subjective or super speculative, and you are at that point anticipating a trade. You're not. What you want to do is you want to react in a situation like this, and you. I'm just gonna tell you, it's in the 90s.
Yeah, and look, the reason I said flipping my flapjacks because I've tried to listen to Jeremy's thesis on it.
Who's Jeremy?
Jeremy's another financial YouTuber, and he's the first person I would have to say objectively that got people to think about AMD. Like his AMD videos have like a couple 100,000 views. So people look to his analysis on AMD. From my understanding, he just thinks it's a baby NVIDIA that will grow against NVIDIA's expectations over the next 5 years, and that's his bull case. And granted, he has a long-term trajectory, right? So it's
Okay.
not tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's going to take time. You know?
Yeah, it's not ready. This is like as clean of a. It's funny. I'm not short the name. Like I told you guys, I don't want to be short anymore. But this is as clean of a trend as you're gonna find in the market. So if you're wondering how to read a series of higher highs and higher lows, and really find out what a uptrend looked like, take the AMD chart, turn it upside down, and that's going to be a very good uptrend. But this is the current AMD chart. That is a very clean series of lower highs and lower lows.
It's actually
very clean.
The thing though is to give Jeremy credit. It's a classic type of stock that he'd buy, which is that it's beaten up, narrative sucks, and he loves buying more and more when the sentiment is dead, which is exactly what's happening with AMD. It just might take a couple years.
Did you see my post today? Like, I feel like that too. Like on our, this is the meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy the dip. I already bought it. Buy it again. It keeps dipping. Buy it again. I'm out of money. I'm fucking out. I'm sorry. Yeah. And you leave.
No, exactly. But someone like Jeremy, he doesn't do options. He buys and holds. That's his motto, right? So if you're in this,
look, I don't have any problem with that, right? I think you're fine, right? And I think it's all good. And if you're saying he has a 5-year thesis, then the dude's really not going to care whether or not it's 120 or 90, to be honest, because that at the end of the day is $30. And if his price target is like 300, he's not,
100%. I think he started buying at 130, so he has not cared at all.
And I can't fault him for that, right? You just have to understand that's where he's at, right? And if you're not there, and if with that kind of time horizon, you can't go all in at once. And he's sure as hell not if he continues to buy, because it's not like the thing with like someone like me, and the reason why I have to trade a lot. We started the show like this. Like I can't just like go. It's not like I have a job, but like I can't just go and deposit money into my account. It doesn't work that way, right? This is what it is, and I just got to take that and snowball it here, snowball it there, snowball it here, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, given how your account is set up, you have to make money versus give fresh capital. So.
A bingo. I have to make money, and that's different than like a TJ too, who, by the way, he has to have his money make income, dispensable income, which is a whole nother perspective, right? Very different.
Okay, last one is Costco.
This AMD chart just cracks me up though, man. Daily looks good. Did you see Walmart? Oh my God. But Costco and Walmart look very similar. The two greatest retailers, like both nice dipper. $1,000 support. It's right there. They did not want to let this bad boy go down sub 1K. Interestingly enough, here is a double bottom. And so I'm just using this in the graph reference. For the double bottom to stay valid, it can never be invalidated, right? And so then we take the next low above, and we have our magic kind of box right here. And so this is your defined support that is established. Can this come back down? Sure can. And test it. That's what you're going to want to see. For now, I don't want to press this either, because this is exactly where the rest of the market's looking, right? And you're right in here, right back to that overhead supply. I actually think this is going to be stuck here. So it's a little bit more, but this is my caution. This is my cautionary tale for the rest of the market is if you get something like this tomorrow, you have to take it one day at a time right now, one foot in front of the other, because if you turn around, you could get hit with the bears instantly. So don't get too overly excited just yet. We're not out of the weeds.
Okay. There we go. We are done. I think we got through about 50 tickers here today.
His new one is Fubo, Jeremy. I mean,
oh yeah, I forgot. Jeremy was big on Fubo, and once the court case was resolved, I mean, he did very well on that as well. Yeah. There's Jason's Twitter in the chat. If you have more questions, you can tweet at him. He gets a lot of notifications, but I'm sure he can try to get some charts for
Spencer. Guys, I saw Spencer's ID earlier, and I'm just telling you, he did not need to dox himself that hard. That was just, I love you, Spencer, but damn.
That was hilarious. Oh, someone said this question real quick. Why do you use 3-hour time frames on your charts?
Oh, you want to screen share again?
Yeah.
So when you're learning charts, people are like, I'll use a 4-hour time frame. I don't do that. So the logic that they use for 4-hour time frame is because they want to split the pre-market and post, or the first half and the back half of the day. I use extended trading hours all the time. I think it's you kind of need to use it. But look at this. So on a 3-hour chart, this is the first hour of the day here, right? That's the first hour of the day. And then this is the second hour of the day. It is split cleanly. And then I have 2 hours for post-market, 2 candles for pre-market. If I made this a 4-hour chart, it's not going to do that. See, when I do a 4-hour chart, it only gives you 1 candle for the day. So 4-hour chart, no good. It actually doesn't work. It gives you the full day session in 1 candle. I need it split into 2 candles, first half and back half. So nope, no 4-hour charts. Definitely 3. Hopefully. That's simple answer.
All right. There you go. Jason's Twitter in the chat. Jason, thank you. I'll be back in California soon, so I'll see you again, bro, in a couple weeks. So
there it is.
And
I appreciate the raise too. You guys gave me a raise for Technical Tuesdays. Like, I was super happy. I was stoked.
Dude, we negotiated a contract. I was like, all right, I will pay you $5.
Yes. Which, by the way, was a 50% raise. Huge. 100% raise. But anyways. All right, guys. All right. I love you all. You are the best.
Good stuff. Yeah. Dude, everyone appreciates you every day. I mean, 3 hours.
I appreciate you guys.
So
yes, I bought TTD. Simply JC. Go back. Admit to this timestamp magic. Pretty cool.
Yeah, $5 a ticker. Dude, that would be an expensive technical. All right, cool stuff.
Hey guys, Spencer's not a dude, actually. There it is. Yeah, I got Spencer's back now. She is my friend.
Although it is how do you say androgynous name? It could be a guy or a girl, Spencer, right?
I mean, so could Amit, right?
No, that's not.
Just like thinking about it. I don't know.
Another dude I met a girl and a guy named Kelly, and I've met a girl and a guy named Ryan.
Yeah, like my brother's name is Tracy.
Oh, see, there you go, Tracy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yep, there it is.
I've never met a girl named Jason though. That's would be probably
that
wouldn't work. All right, cool stuff. Thank you, Jason. We'll see you next. See you next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's it for me. Again, SMCI big story after hours, robbing it up about 3% after the Cramer interview, grabs up 0.5%. Nvidia's up 1.3. SMCI up 24.7. Gut feeling is I think it's going to hold till tomorrow. I think then Nvidia, if they crush, this thing goes higher. I am a little skeptical of how many people are going to use this as liquidity tomorrow and just get out of their position after they see the pump. But the 10K's filed. 10K looks fine from some of the stuff I'm seeing. I'll do a recap in the morning on the market open. But from what I'm seeing on their annual income, their revenue numbers, all of that was solidified for fiscal year 2024. It looks decent. It doesn't look bad. It looks like they're doing about 2.5 billion in revenue for 2024, and market cap is 25 billion. So I don't know. Seems like it should be okay. Seems like it should pump in the morning, and SMCI should have a decent pump going into tomorrow. A little bit of recovery after hours on some of these names as well. I mean, it hasn't really made up for the pain over the past couple of days, but Even a Palantir up about 1.17%. We're in extreme fear. Maybe we made a little bit of a bottom. I guess tomorrow NVIDIA earnings is really going to tell us what happens. But besides that, we're going to live to fight another day in regards to what's going on in the markets. And yes, SMCI filed, for those that are asking. I did not know how many of you guys like SMCI, bro. Like, I guess there's a lot of people that cared about that ticker. All right, cool. That is it. Thank you, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow on the market open. I'm feeling really healthy now and good. So every single day, back to normal. I wouldn't say exactly 100%, but closing in on like 95%. So good stuff, and happy to be back into the routine. All right. Bye, everyone. See you guys tomorrow on the market open. Bye, everybody.